If you've ever counted down the days, 42 by the way, until the start of the NFL season, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. And look, I hope you folks were rested from yesterday. Yesterday, a moderate day, still low volume, not a whole lot happened. There were some individual moves, obviously the DFNS craziness. But today, we're going to have a lot of big things here. It is the biggest day of the week of earnings. And before that, we actually get the Fed decision. Now, I know we're anticipating them holding. I suppose there is a larger than normal chance for a surprise hike. No chance for a cut here today. But we'll see what that does for the equity markets. We'll see if they're roiled or if they're just low volume per usual. Should be an interesting one. Great to have a whole bunch of returning faces here. And of course, Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Wednesday edition, or might I say the Fed edition, for July 29th, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It is great to see a whole bunch of returning faces back in the chat. I hope that the rest of your Tuesday night and day was wonderful. We're back, as just mentioned, for the biggest day of the week. We'll see how today goes. I think because we're spending it with you folks, it's going to be awesome. We got Melvin on here today. Should be great. Also, don't forget, we're going to have story trading on immediately following us here. And then after that, we're going to have the drift again. So we got a loaded morning going into that Fed meeting. Should be a loaded day here for you today. Derek is first on this loaded day here. Good morning, Derek. Welcome back. It's great to see you. Hopefully you are ready to go. Early bird gets the worm. Azrar, good morning. Welcome back. And to everyone, we appreciate that. Janie, good morning. It's always great to see you. Welcome back. Richard Judge, good morning. Fun fact, the stock market has outlived wars, recessions, and pandemics. It's basically the ultimate comeback champion. I like it. That's a glass half full approach, Judge. You know I like glass half full, so keep that positivity coming. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Welcome back. Hopefully you're doing well here today. Ed, good morning. Peter, good morning. Robert, good morning. Francis, good morning. Jim, good morning. Corey, it's great to see you. Corey says, how's that back doing this morning? Hopefully a little better. Back pain is the worst. Corey, you're not kidding. It is. First of all, thank you. And second of all, yes, it is better today. I was able to get out of bed without falling over, which is big, and I can walk around without being in excruciating pain. Still a little tender, but definitely better. I'll say this. I'm a huge fan of the teeter hang-up. Not a sponsored segment of the show. They don't pay me to say anything good about it. I know they've done plenty of infomercials back in the day, but let me tell you, inversion is awesome for back issues. I used it twice yesterday. Both times it gave me temporary relief. And today, without the use of any drugs at all, I do feel better. So I'm hoping that's going to continue. More sessions on that. Folks, if you have back pain, get it looked at. Take it seriously. My dad had it. He warned me about it. I have it now in some cases. It is extremely debilitating. Like, it was so painful, I could not concentrate on things. I couldn't look at numbers. It was nasty. But we're getting better. We're on the far end of that. Worst is out of the way. So glass half full. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning. Welcome back. Pot G, good afternoon. Welcome back. Barb, it's great to see you. As always, welcome back. Producer, thanks for all you do. Welcome back. Who am I missing? Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Barb's asking about opinions on Rambus. I see them as a long-term integration. You know, it's interesting on Rambus. They do sell product. They sell silicon for chips, so that's obviously in play here with the current theme. But they also license things, and that's recurring revenue. So Rambus is an interesting one. I don't own it, but that's an interesting one. It definitely fits into the theme as of right now. Whisk, good morning. Great to see you. DCL Knights Lance, good morning. Great to see you. Who am I missing here? Hoot, good morning. Welcome back. Chuck, good morning. Welcome back. Janie said, I held DFNS overnight. Oh, no. Woke up to pure happiness. DFNS printed in the 42s here. Let me ask you, we talk about these junky movers all the time. What caused you to hold this one versus others? I'd be curious on the thought process there. I am absolutely thrilled to death it worked, but I think it could have just as easily been $6 this morning. But you let me know. Maybe I'm off base on that. Durkis, good morning. Welcome back. Linda, good morning. Welcome back. Lion Atlas, good morning. All right. Up early. Good morning. Welcome back, Lion. Just passing through. Good morning. Brandon, good morning. Richard, good morning. Jason, good morning. We go together. Good morning. Alvin, good morning. Alan, good morning. It's great to see you again. Welcome back. Victor, good morning. Ben Davis, good morning. Yassine, good morning. How you feeling? Back good? It's better. It's better. Thank you. Nikhil, good morning. I see my K, good morning. C Boogie, good morning. Jay, good morning. Indeed, Lion. Every day that we wake up here is a blessing, no doubt about it. Okay. No need to ice. Don't forget ice in the morning. Throw a bag of ice back there while you're sitting. See, that's not a bad idea, actually. I actually do have like an ice gel pack. I should have. That's a really good idea, Jason, and I can absolutely accommodate that. I'll get that when I go to the washroom. Who am I missing here? The Rob, good morning. Welcome back. Acorns, good morning. Welcome back. And Janie said, Ryan, it was 100% gamble. I had made a bunch this week, and I figured, why not? Okay, well, at least you knew going in, and at least you already had a buffer in case it didn't work. To me, that seems like smart decision making, even if you're going to do something risky. I mean, after all, risk versus reward, right? That's a constant calculation that we have to be going over here. Up 30, good morning. All right. And BE, Brandon's asking about BE. We're going to talk about that. I actually added that to the universe of stocks that the bot trades today too, because I think BE might be in play here. So I'm sure we'll take a look at that at some point here today. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, our indices are mixed ahead of Wednesday's open here. S&P futures higher by 0.17%, Dow futures lower by 0.41%, and the NASDAQ also higher by 0.19%. So the Dow here is the outlier. Quick check-in on oil overnight. That's higher by 4.69%. Crude is at right near an 83 handle as tensions escalated a bit last night. Let's take a look at some cues from last session as well as what we have going on here today. Consumer staples, healthcare, and material stocks recorded the largest gains on Tuesday as most S&P 500 sectors ended in positive territory, though energy and information technology shares bucked the broader trend to close lower. U.S. stock futures were higher on Wednesday as the Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and S&P indices gained following Tuesday's mixed close. As mentioned, though, the Dow has moved into the negative territory now. This all comes as the U.S. military said it intercepted a surprise Iranian missile attack after U.S. Central Command, or CENTCOM, said Iran launched multiple ballistic missiles at U.S. forces in the Middle East, reviving concerns over Middle East stability and global energy supplies. Additionally, President Trump told reporters aboard Air Force One on Monday that the U.S. should have the lowest interest rates in the world. No nickname for Warsh, not yet. Wishy-wash, maybe? Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.61%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.3%. Investors are eagerly waiting the Federal Open Market Committee decision on interest rates today, as Fed Chair Kevin Warsh eliminated any forward-looking guidance during his last speech. Despite no forward guidance, the CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projection showed that the markets are pricing a 70.6% likelihood of the Federal Reserve leaving the current interest rates unchanged. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you, and the first one is going to be Ford Motor. The ticker is F. It rose 4.08% in the pre-market on Wednesday after reporting better than expected second quarter earnings and raising its fiscal year 26 adjusted EBIT guidance. The next stock on our list is going to be Microsoft, ticker MSFT, and it was up just shy of 0.96%, as analysts expect it to post quarterly earnings of $4.24 per share on revenue of $87.63 billion after the closing bell today. The next stock on our list is going to be Meta Platforms, ticker META. It was 0.7 higher as analysts expect it to post quarterly earnings of $7.18 per share on revenue of $60.22 billion after the closing bell. The next stock on our list here is going to be Qualcomm, ticker QCOM. It was down 0.6 or 0.6% as analysts expect it to post quarterly earnings of $2.09 per share on revenue of $9.67 billion after the closing bell today. The last stock on our list is, in fact, Bloom Energy, ticker BE. It surged 11% as it posted second quarter revenue of $1.07 billion, which beat the analyst estimates of $822.77 million. And adjusted earnings of 78 cents per share beat the estimate of 40 cents per share. All right, let's take a look at the SPY chart and see where we sit. I know, it's like the same every day. Well, I got bad news for you if that's what you're worried about. It's the same here today. Now, good and bad here. First of all, we're still sideways. So although we traded down yesterday, or actually we finished a little bit green there yesterday, but although we're kind of lower than some of those highs there and lower than the 50 and lower than the 20-day, we actually did hold on to 740. So good news, I guess. Volume, again, still very, very low here. I don't really see how we're going to break to new highs without a big catalyst or a lot of volume flowing in. And so far, it's not giving it to us. Just straight sideways here. Now, today is a big day, so maybe, just maybe, we'll get something that changes all of this and kind of brings more volume into the market, maybe breaks some of these ranges. That could happen. The only caveat that I have there is I feel like for that to happen, we're going to need something unexpected. And that would be like a surprise hike. And while I don't think we're getting that, I think that would be trouble. I actually think a surprise in either direction would be trouble. One of the things we discussed on Happy Hour was that if they did a surprise cut, you might have a big time crash on the read through from all of that, like a 1987 style crash, one member surmised. So I think we're going to get just a pause. It's going to be everything that folks have been expecting. We're not really going to get any surprises. Maybe there will be something in the press conference that, like, a little more, since Warsh isn't giving guidance and is really kind of shortening the statements. Maybe we get something in there that the market kind of latches onto. But and then we have big corporate earnings here tonight. And in fact, just a reminder here, I don't think I showed this enough yesterday. Here's our earnings chart for today. So after the bell, Microsoft, Meta, Qualcomm, Starbucks, Lam Research, ARM, EA, and Robinhood. that's not enough for you. I'm sure we can find something else, but lots of big earnings that are likely going to impact the entire market here. So we'll see if that is enough to move SPY, and perhaps more importantly, which direction that ends up moving the SPY. Now, let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. We got Jeremy Siegel here today. Let's see what he says. Professor Jeremy Siegel views the U.S. economy and stock market as facing a, quote, more balanced environment, end quote, characterized by solid underlying strength alongside near-term market friction. Siegel highlights that fundamental economic data points towards a healthy expansion, noting exceptionally strong labor conditions and stable growth. However, rising energy costs present a key macroeconomic challenge. Regarding monetary policy, Siegel expects the Federal Reserve to hold interest rates steady, though he anticipates the Fed will have to navigate ongoing money supply expansion and persistent inflation risks. While long-term fundamentals remain favorable, Siegel stresses that, quote, the bar for positive surprises has become considerably higher, end quote, due to elevated valuations, rising yields, and higher oil prices. A shout out, Jay Rice has been talking about that bar for some time now. As far as geopolitics goes, geopolitical resolution in the Middle East remains a primary catalyst. Quote, if the Strait of Hormuz was opened, I believe the market would go 5 to 10% higher, end quote. As far as AI and capital spending goes, Siegel advises caution regarding tech capital expenditures, comparing heavy AI spenders to historical capital pigs. Where the AI revolution remains intact, quote, markets are beginning to distinguish between companies building the infrastructure and those capable of earning attractive returns on that infrastructure, end quote. Ultimately, Siegel expects future equity gains to require greater selectivity and disciplined attention to valuation. So what they're saying right there is that, yeah, we've said before, when these stocks are trading on momentum, fundamentals don't matter until they matter. Well, we're starting to get some idea that some of the experts here are saying, those pesky fundamentals, they actually do matter here. And we're going to pay, as he calls it, disciplined attention to valuation. So that, to me, also sets up the talk and numbers regarding capital expenditures out of these big AI companies is going to rule the day here for a lot of these earnings and into this entire earnings season. Remember, this concludes with NVIDIA reporting their earnings in late August. So we're going to have a lot of this stuff in the meantime. Now, let's take a look at some of the news here. I think the big story overnight is Zuckerberg making some waves here. Meta Platforms, ticker META, their CEO Mark Zuckerberg said that the U.S. should not block Chinese AI models to gain a competitive edge, warning that regulations pushed by leading American AI labs could stifle domestic competition. In an interview with the Financial Times on Tuesday, Zuckerberg said banning advanced Chinese AI models in the U.S. would not be an, quote, effective solution, end quote, despite Washington's push to target Chinese AI labs over alleged intellectual property theft. He argued that restricting the most advanced AI models is the wrong approach to cybersecurity, saying they can help companies detect and fix vulnerabilities. Citing a recent incident in which an OpenAI model escaped human control and hacked a startup named Hugging Face, he said restricted access forced the affected company to rely on open source models to patch the breach. The Meta CEO also opposed an AI chip export ban, arguing U.S. companies should systemically remove bottlenecks and barriers to better compete with China in the AI race. Zuckerberg also said peer review or vetting of new AI models could benefit the industry if implemented thoughtfully, but cautioned that leading AI companies should not wield excessive influence over the process. Quote, there's always this question of regulatory capture if you have a set of businesses that have their own interests that are doing peer review, end quote. Does that remind you of anything else? Asking for a friend. The Meta chief reaffirmed his vision of AI for everyone in an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal on Tuesday, advocating for open source AI models that users can customize and run on their own hardware. Quote, I propose a philosophy based on individual empowerment as the source of prosperity, invention as the primary purpose of superintelligence, and balance of power as the foundation of safety, end quote. He also warned against AI becoming centralized in the hands of a few powerful companies. Quote, if superintelligence is widely distributed, then I believe we will see more jobs in the future, not fewer, end quote. Now, again, this is from Zuckerberg. And he added that superintelligence can be a game changer for the economy and entrepreneurship. Microsoft CEO, again, Microsoft ticker MSFT, their CEO Satya Nadella backed Zuckerberg's vision. Quote, establishing a frontier ecosystem that empowers people and orgs everywhere is what we collectively need to build together, end quote. And he wrote that on X. The launch of Moonshot AI's open weight Kimi K3 intensified concerns in Washington and Silicon Valley that China is narrowing the AI gap with the U.S. As China prioritizes low-cost open AI models, policymakers worry American companies could increasingly adopt them over more expensive U.S.-developed alternatives, although I will take the other side on that. On Tuesday, NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, CEO Jensen Huang met with Senator Mark Warner, a Democrat from Virginia, and the vice chair of the Select Committee on Intelligence to discuss AI's impact on jobs, national security, and data centers, while advocating for open source AI models. That was reported by The Hill. Warner said Huang made a compelling case, adding that the rapid rise of open source AI, including Chinese models like Kimi, has made it increasingly difficult to envision a future dominated by only closed source systems, though he's still weighing the issue. Huang, in his first ever post on X, congratulations, argued that the world, quote, needs both frontier closed models and frontier open models, end quote. And according to the Financial Times, and Zuckerberg on Tuesday joined the intensifying debate in Washington over how the U.S. should regulate AI companies and respond to growing competitions from China. So what is this all going to mean in the long run? You folks are going to have to tell me what you think. Do you want a closed system? Do you want to be able to run your own model locally on your own hardware? Do you even have hardware that can support it? Is the performance going to be good, bad, or worse to what we're already used to seeing? A lot of questions that still need to be answered here. But I will say my takeaway from this is that I actually think this is all good. I actually think these discussions about open source versus closed source and all of these different models competing for usage time and token usage and all of that, I think that's good. I think ultimately, the more that you do that, the better off the end product is actually going to be for the consumer. That means hopefully higher productivity and more people able to kind of use the benefits of some of these AIs rather than just asking it about what board game they should play or make up a trivia quiz or something like that. I suspect that this competition, I suspect that exploring all avenues will actually just better the end product. And maybe we don't even see benefit for years down the road, but still, let them go. Let them discuss all of this. Let's come up with the best possible solution. Let's be open to different solutions. I think that's a good idea. All right, next story here. We're going to talk about SK Hynix. I actually got two back-to-back stories here. One of them involves Jim Cramer, so it should be fun for you. As China's memory industry grows, SK Hynix dismisses the glut fears and says, quote, we do not believe oversupply is near. So the reason that I selected this story is because one of the things that we kind of agreed on as a group, both the morning crew here and the happy hour crew in the evening, is that oversupply, this is a pendulum swinging, right? So all these companies want chips. They want all this memory. They want to be able to do as much compute as possible. They need energy, chips, and memory. And so it would make sense that the suppliers of these things would increase production to meet that demand. And we've heard a ton of these companies that the demand is absolutely not waning. Demand is fine on all of these fronts. Really, the question is supply. And it's a natural reaction. These companies are going to make more of it. But SK Hynix saying they don't think that it's going to be a problem right away. The pendulum swinging back, if you will, might take a little bit longer than we think. SK Hynix, ticker SKHY, on Wednesday pushed back against concerns that aggressive investment in AI memory production could lead to a supply glut, saying it does not expect its expansion plans to create oversupply in the near future. Quote, we do not believe our medium to long-term investment plans will lead to oversupply right away. And this came from Song Hyun-jong, president of Corporate Center. He said that during the company's second quarter earnings call. SK Hynix said its investment strategy remains tied to confirmed customer demand rather than speculative capacity expansion, and added that long-term supply agreements and growing adoption of high-bandwidth memory provide confidence in future demand. The company expects 2026 capital expenditure to reach the high end of its previously guided range, that's 27.58 billion USD, as it expands high bandwidth memory or HBM production and advanced packaging capacity. The NVIDIA Corporation, again, ticker NVDA, their supplier said AI infrastructure bottlenecks could delay some AI projects, but maintain that investment will remain robust beyond next year. And this is driven by cloud providers' AI spending and broader AI adoption. China's Changxin Memory Technologies, ticker CXMT, surged more than 500% in its Shanghai debut on Monday after raising 57.92 billion yuan, or 8.55 billion US dollars, in Asia's biggest IPO this year, becoming China's most valuable listed company. Founded in 2016, CXMT held a 7.67% share of the global DRAM market in the fourth quarter of 2025. SK Hynix holds about 29% of the global DRAM market, trailing Samsung Electronics' 39% share, while remaining ahead of Micron's 22% share. The South Korean chipmaker expects third quarter DRAM shipments to rise about 10% and NAND shipments to increase about 3%, while the full-year demand forecast is roughly 25% growth for DRAM and 18% for NAND. For the second quarter, SK Hynix reported an operating profit of 41.72 billion US dollars. That's up 557% from a year earlier, but below the $44.11 billion consensus estimates compiled by LSEG's Smart Estimate. Revenue rose 257% year over year to a record $54.67 billion. So SK Hynix selling off over in Korea. Kospi's been halted down twice. What is this going to mean for our markets? What it's going to mean for it going forward? Well, one guy's got an opinion. Jim Cramer slams SK Hynix as SKHY's record earnings meet the brutal stock crash. Quote, "We will rue the day we let this monster into our markets." End quote. CNBC host Jim Cramer has sounded the alarm on SK Hynix, ticker SKHY, labeling the South Korean memory giant a monster that is destabilizing global markets as retail margin calls and leveraged gambling overshadows strong chip fundamentals during July's severe semiconductor rout. Reacting to the chaotic market action following SK Hynix's earnings call, Cramer delivered a scathing critique of the semiconductor stock's mounting influence on Wall Street. Quote, "We will rue the day we let this monster into our markets," end quote. That was from a Cramer post on X. And if any of you want to go through that or read the replies, I'll go ahead and drop that here in the chat. It goes on to say, SK is more about margin calls and gambling than it is about DRAM pricing and capacity additions, end quote. Cramer's warning aligns with concerns from South Korean financial regulators who are considering capping single stock leveraged ETF investments for retail investors, as traders aggressively buy speculative shares while foreign investors unload billions in tech equities. Forced liquidations and margin call pressures have amplified market swings. The market chaos erupted despite SK Hynix reporting record-breaking revenue in the second quarter, but missing profit expectations. Its revenue rose 257%, more than triple, to a record 54.53 billion USD as compared to the same period last year, or a year ago, excuse me. Company also achieved an all-time high operating margin of 76%. The South Korean chipmaker reported operating profit again of 41.62 billion. That's up 557% from a year earlier. But it is below the 43.99% billion forecast, again, compiled by LSEG Smart Estimate. Yet conflicting investor interpretations and China competition fears triggered heavy selling. Cramer mocked the erratic stock reaction, highlighting the glaring disconnect between earnings and market performance. Quote, SK Hijinks call has something for bears and bulls. Demand great, capacity additions great. I mean, this thing's all over the place, and so is the stock, end quote. He goes on to say, we have new reports calling the quarter amazing and others calling it disappointing. And this is the most important stock out there, end quote. The wild volatility has dragged down broader benchmark indices across Asia and the U.S. South Korea's tech-heavy Kospi index fell 5.99% on Wednesday and plummeted nearly 33.1% in July, falling over 39.66% from its 52-week high. SK Hynix Korea-listed shares closed 9.61% lower in Wednesday's session. That's up 115.21% year-to-date, but down 46.69% over the past month and 23.44% over the last 5 sessions alone. The U.S.-listed ADR, on the other hand, closed 8.9% lower on Tuesday, and it was 23.43% lower since its recent listing. It was down 0.57% in the pre-market today. We'll see how it closes. Additionally, iShares Semiconductor ETF, ticker SOXX, which tracks the semiconductor index, was up 61.18% year-to-date, lower by 16.69% over the past month, and 99.98% higher over the year. The NASDAQ 100 index neared the correction zone on Tuesday as it fell 9.75% from its previous record of 30,762. However, the ETF tracking it, the Invesco QQQ Trust, or ticker QQQ, was 0.23% higher in the pre-market on Wednesday. So all over the place there. We'll see if Cramer's right on this one. We'll see if SK Hijinks, as he called it, can just calm down just a tad. All right, one more quick story here before we go to Timbo. I know y'all are chomping at the bit to get Tim on here, and believe me, we will. One more quick story, this one about Apple, which reports earnings tomorrow after hours. Apple's incoming CEO, John Ternus, signals more Apple TV growth as Tim Cook teases more Formula One style bets. So very interesting. I know all the talk is about AI. Looks like Apple's going to try and fill a niche that Netflix is kind of leaving open. We've talked a lot about content not being great there. Apple, ticker AAPL, the incoming CEO, John Ternus, said he plans to build on the company's growth in entertainment services when he takes over leadership from the iPhone maker in September. On Tuesday, speaking on a red carpet at the premiere of the 4th season of Ted Lasso, Ternus told Reuters that Apple TV is gaining strong momentum with a growing lineup of successful shows, compelling characters, and engaging stories. Quote, so we're just going to keep building on that momentum, end quote. Current CEO Tim Cook added to the enthusiasm and said that Apple's entertainment approach is centered on quality over quantity. Quote, we're not about the most, we're about the best, end quote. And Cook said Apple would consider future entertainment partnerships where it can offer unique expertise, citing its collaboration with the Formula One Racing League as an example. Quote, we'll do things that we can bring something unique to, where we can innovate in a way that others might not be able to, end quote. And again, that came from Tim Cook. Apple entered original streaming content in 2019 with Apple TV Plus, finding success through award-winning films and popular series, including Oscar winner Coda and the blockbuster F1 and Emmy award-winning shows like The Studio and Ted Lasso. Last year, Apple rebranded the service to Apple TV. For the F1 movie, Apple developed custom cameras to deliver an immersive race car experience for viewers. The company has also expanded its Formula One presence by streaming races on Apple TV in the U.S. and providing race data, leaderboards, and updates across all its platforms. In June, Apple executive Eddie Q told Reuters that the company plans to produce more and better TV shows and movies for its streaming service and theatrical releases, signaling a continued push to expand its entertainment offerings. Quote, we want to keep getting better and more, end quote. That came from Q. Writers are developing the script for a sequel to F1, he said, as the Brad Pitt racing drama earned more than 634 million USD worldwide at the box office. So we've talked about Netflix having a content problem. That may evolve into a bigger problem if Apple's like, hold my beer, I'm going to step into this and I'm going to show you how to do content. Because I will say, like, when I talk to other people, not just my own opinion, but when I talk to others, all of the things that were listed there, Coda, Ted Lasso, the F1 movie, these are all popular. And it's a very stark contrast to what folks are saying about some of the Netflix content. That's something that we've highlighted for some time here. So interesting. Maybe there's another area of growth there for a company that is famous for making phones. We'll see how this all shakes out here. Okay, let me go back to Pro. It is time for Tim. It's Wednesday. It's everyone's favorite long-term investor. We're going to see what kind of sass Tim Melvin has for us today. Let's bring him on. Tim, good morning. How you doing today?
We are fantastic, Ryan. How is everybody out there? Hopefully fine, ready for a great rest of the week. Before I go too far, and I just sent you this link because I didn't have it last night.
Okay.
I told you all around 4th of July about Meb Faber's new book, the 250-year bull market, investing in America. And it's been back ordered, right? I couldn't even get mine, and I ordered months ago. And mine's not going to be here till next week. But Meb sent out a link this morning that's got a bunch of the charts and a reading list of long-term investing in America. But some of the charts are cool because it gives you like the purchasing power of a dollar and the rates of return since 1800s. And there's just some really cool stuff in this little chart pack. And then the reading list commentary has some important papers and books. I had a little bit of fun with this. By the way, did you know, Ryan, that since 2000, REITs and gold have outperformed stocks in the United States?
I actually did not know that. I wouldn't know that from Starwood, but that's interesting nonetheless.
Well, yes. And again, you will notice that in the last couple of years, REITs have lagged a little bit.
Yep.
But here's another fun tidbit for those of you that are not loaded up with REITs. REITs, since they were formed in 1972, the new tax changes, not formed, but the new tax changes made the current version of the industry viable. Equity REITs that own property, not financing REITs, have outperformed the S&P 500.
Wow. I would not have guessed that.
Now, the long-term compounding power of REITs is amazing. And, I spent like the last 2 years like hollering at people and yelling about buying REITs. And now they're starting to move higher. And I will say that generally speaking, when we have a period in real estate like we had from, say, 2021 to 2024, that's usually followed by a 5, 6, 7 year period of outperformance. So, and when I look and I run screens for REITs, I can still find a ton of REITs trading below my net asset value formula, which is really conservative. I mean, it's like I took Marty Whitman's and said, how can I make it even safer? So it's if you're not looking at REITs on weakness in the markets, you need to be looking at REITs. We're starting to see M&A. We're starting to see activist activity. I'm not going to throw a whole bunch out. If you guys want to do a REIT show, we'll do that another week because I do have some cool stuff today, including one that you and Mr. Kramer just set me right up for, and that's on AI and hyperscalers and chips and everything that's going on there. First off, I agree with Kramer to some degree, and this is unusual, but I think that we will be sorry/happy that we let the South Koreans into the chip market. Sorry, because we're going to have a hard time competing with them because they are monsters and they have some labor advantages. But happy because they're going to produce a lot of chips cheaper, which, by the way, raises some really interesting defense questions because the bigger role South Korea plays, and then we know that Taiwan's already got a huge role. I think we have to step up our Asian defense game just a teeny tiny little bit. But before I go to the Man Group material on AI and kind of what they're flat out calling it a bubble. And I listened to Man Group.
Let's get the AI bubble.
Yeah, they've got a long track record of getting this stuff right. They own some of the best trend following firms and alternative investment firms in the world today. They've got a very unique point of view. And my ultimate measuring tool, because I'm old and I can do this, is how long during my career have you been right and how often have you been wrong? And nobody's going to be right all the time. That just does not happen. Okay. There's somebody saying they own a basket of REITs, triple nets, and industrials. I do love those. we pay way more attention to net asset value than we do FFO and AFFO. But if it's declining, yeah, that's generally kind of a flag that you want to be careful about in a portfolio you already own. But anyway, let's jump into this Man Group report because it's kind of interesting, because their central argument in this is that while AI is a transformative technology, which I think we all agree upon, the financial structure supporting this is probably a bubble. They compare the boom with earlier technology cycles. And we've done some stuff with this and it's kind of fun. But railroads, electrification, fiber optics, and the internet. In each case, the technology not only survived, it changed the world, right? Railroads, electricity, fiber, and the internet, those are some of the biggest innovations, game changers in the history of the world. But more of the companies initially involved went broke than actually made money. Fiber optics is a very telling story, because in fiber optics, you had a whole bunch of the companies that, remember WorldCom, right? Laid a lot of the fiber, and they put down tons and miles and miles and miles of dark fiber, unlit fiber that nobody was using because the demand was going to be there. That, in fact, did happen. Several years later, after they had already defaulted on their debt because they overbuilt optimistically, and the existing telecom companies were able to step in and pick this stuff up on pennies on the dollar from the bankruptcy courts. Now, the article talks about the AI boom being reinforced by this closed financing loop that involves the hyperscalers, the chip makers, and the developers. So Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta, NVIDIA, OpenAI, AI, Anthropic being the big ones. And we just saw it, Ryan, this week, right? NVIDIA cut a deal. They're lending OpenAI up to $250 billion, which is then going to be turned right around and used to develop data centers along with the hyperscalers and buy chips from NVIDIA. So
let me loan you this money so you can buy chips from me with that money.
Yeah, and this is a very incestuous relationship. It's going on, and somebody pointed out that NVIDIA is sitting there. They've kind of turned into almost the merchant bank of AI. Right? They're lending money to all of their customers to buy their products. They're also doing what Cisco did in the internet age, and this is one of the things that made Cisco such an enormous success. They're quietly sitting there and they're buying anybody that's a threat to them. Microsoft has also been brilliant about this over the years. If there's anybody that's got a technology that looks like it's going to be competitive, it's going to be an add-on, they just go ahead and buy it young, right, out of the gate before it has a chance to grow and become a threat. So you keep this in mind when you're buying into the hype of AI-related stocks. The big overriding question on the U.S. market, because look, this whole show is now AI and liquidity based.
Yeah, no question.
Okay, it's my stock is going up because they're going to use AI and it's going to make their business better. You know, we're financing data centers and everybody's going to have data centers. We're financing oil and gas because oil and gas demand is going to go up because of data centers. If there's any cracks in this, it's going to be very quickly become a huge problem for the market. And it is unlikely that all of these companies survive. Now, I think NVIDIA survives.
Me too.
Okay? And, absolutely NVIDIA survives. There's going to be some absolute surprise failures in here.
I mean, there always is, Tim. Here's the thing that gets me, right? You can try to predict as much as you want. These companies do it all the time, right? They're the ones developing this new technology. They're trying to predict what's going to happen in the future, how it's going to be used. Whenever you make predictions about the future, I don't care who you are, even if you're Nostradamus, you make mistakes. Yeah. And things happen, and that's what's going to happen. Now, how much is this going to crack? I think that's yet to be seen here. I'm with you. I don't think any of the big ones like NVIDIA or Microsoft are going by the wayside or anything like that.
But also remember this. Keep this in the back of your mind because it is a transformative technology. All right. But if you're not aware that we've had almost 15-year bull market now, and that tends to be, you're getting to the outer edge of the lifespan of a bull market. All right.
Well, what do you think about the argument that COVID kind of interrupted that and started a new one? Now
you don't buy 10 minutes?
Well, that's I get it. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate.
No, it's no. The COVID bull markets do not last a month, right? And here's the other thing.
Bear markets, I think.
Bear markets, yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Here's the other thing that you need to keep in mind. Without the direct intervention of Congress and the Fed to the tune of multi-trillions of dollars, and the ECB doing the same thing, right? The whole world threw liquidity into the markets at COVID. That ain't happening again. Because I can tell you that this administration and this Fed will not do it. Maybe in response to a pandemic, but they're not going to do the Greenspan, the market went down, let's inject cash.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, at some point, as great as all this is, just like with the railroads in 2007, just like with the internet in 1999, at some point, this is going to break and go down. All right. Now, you can do two things about this. You can piss and moan and whine because your stocks went down because you didn't listen to Tim and you paid 50 times revenue for some dumbass stock that you never should have bought. Or you can sit there and keep this in mind and do a Hetty Green, right? I was just reading yesterday. Because Hetty Green's one of my favorite characters of history because she was just a very unlikable woman. But the Witch of Wall Street was the richest woman in the world at the time. And she said, look, I saw the crash of 2007 coming in 2004. I started warning people. Businessmen were acting like morons. There was too much. Wait a minute. And Cramer just said this. I hate agreeing with Jim Cramer, by the way. Too much leverage, too much speculative leverage in the financial system, too much straight up gambling going on. Remember what Citadel said. The average option in their retail clearing book has 3 days or less to expiration. You can't even vaguely make a case that you are long that option as an intelligent speculation, right? Because it's just not possible. That's a bet. That's a red black bet. Okay. Well, more to the point, it's probably just a number bet on the roulette wheel because you're trying to hit a home run. Mm-hmm. So at some point, this cracks. And those who are sitting when it crashes, just like back in 2002, 2001, when Priceline was trading for less than the cash on the books, and Apple was trading at something like 80% of tangible book value, and it was 5 times free cash flow for Cisco. Those who are sitting there with some cash in the inevitable bust are going to make a lot of money. And that's what Hetty Green did. She just kind of looked around. She said, all right, this building that I own over here on Columbus Circle, it's kind of fully priced, and I've got a lot of buyers in line for it. So let me go ahead and sell that. And I never did like this railroad. I think their finances are kind of shaky. Let me clear that out and just starting to put the cash over here on the side, right? So it's coming, and I'm just telling you, it's coming. All right, you are getting nearer and nearer to a point where we get the incestuous finance circle cracks. Or remember something, China's fundraising for AI companies, like a DeepMind or whatever they call it, just raised like $35 billion. They just did one of the biggest IPOs ever. You were reading about that for an AI company. Yep. They're starting to catch up across the board on funding. Their models are running neck and neck. Remember what happened when DeepSeek first came out and we saw the crack. You get a longer term one of those, and you could get some downside to this internet stuff. So keep that in mind. And I would be aggressively looking for opportunities to raise cash, because I'm telling you, if you're sitting there with a ton of cash and borrowing power, when a market cracks like 2009, like COVID, like the internet, the amount of money you can make over the next 3 or 4 years can make an enormous difference in your life.
Okay. All right, good stuff there. And by the way, I'm throwing all of these links as you talk about them in the chat. I absolutely love it when I get hyperlinks instead of PDFs, because I can distribute them right away. So
yep. Now I'm trying to decide which one I want to go to, and I think we're going to go to. And I'm not. Did I send you the Verdad look? I hope I did.
The Verdad look. Yes, Verdad Capital. Here we go. This is, yep, here we go. I think this one's it, Tim. This looks like a MailChimp link. Let me get it on here.
Yeah, that's it. It is.
There you go.
Nobody. Look, Dan Rasmussen and his team at Verdad Capital are doing some of the best quantitative work in the world today. They're also one of the better small cap investors, as far as I'm concerned. And they just sent out a new piece saying, publicly traded microcap stocks have many of the same alpha opportunities as private equity, but at dramatically lower valuations. So there's the smaller companies, and we've talked about this, right? You got to take out the trash. You got to get rid of all the garbage. And when you look at what's left in the microcap, and we're going to define that as $1 billion and under for our purposes, microcaps are dramatically discounted compared to the broader market. And they went through and they looked at US, which is about a 20% discount. Europe's at 30. South Korea, we're not going to do because there's not enough of them we can actually buy. But we will talk about Japanese here real quickly too. So we're about to go ticker fest. So what we've got here, and I haven't done the valuation work. I've made no big comments on any of these. I've done market caps and F score. We've just taken small cap stocks under. Hold on, I gotta put my eyeballs back on because we're still not due for surgery till Friday. Get the other eye done, and we'll be back in balance, as I like to say.
Looking at weekend activities, surgery on the eye.
Well, you know what? It's not too bad. And I get to wear a really cool pirate eye patch for a day or so. So,
I think more than anyone else that we bring on here is going to be able to pull off a pirate eye patch better than.
Oh, I can totally pull off the pirate eye
patch. I'm sure.
No problem.
We need to get a picture of that so we can share it here on screen.
See what I can do. Okay. So here's just some companies with great fundamentals, low market caps. Okay. Here's one $989 million market cap. I love this company. I bought this company and rode it to like a 15 bagger back in the mid 2000 teens. And we wrote about it and talked about it. I still love this company. It's a ridiculously, stupidly boring business. JP Sanfilippo and Sons, JBSS, they do peanuts, pecans, cashews, walnuts, almonds, and nuts. They sell them as private brands. They also do Fisher, Orchard Valley Harvest, and Sunshine Country are their brand names. And, they do it in the candies and the butters and kernels and dried fruits and all sorts of stuff. But I can't imagine a more boring business. This is an incredibly well-run business with an F score of 7. They produce tons of free cash flow. It's just this great company that, if the market cracked and gave me this huge buying opportunity, you know what? I'm going to go and buy it again because it's, go open your closet. You've got almonds in there. You've got peanuts in there. We have almonds. I can't keep peanuts in the house because I eat the whole jar every time.
That's my problem. I'm so glad I'm not the only one. Finally, someone else admits it. I buy that Costco salted peanuts thing and a week later it's gone.
Yeah, and just don't even look at how many calories there are because it's like a handful of peanuts, right?
I don't look at the calories. I look at the protein.
This little tiny, dinky handful of peanuts is 170 calories, right? So when you eat the whole jar, you have like 2 days calories. Great for JP Sanfilippo, not real great for my little Buddha that I'm trying to get rid of.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, Zach, well done.
So here, Koppers Holdings is another one. KOP, I believe is the symbol here. Yeah, and again, they do wood products, wood treatments, chemicals, car pounds. It's railroad, aluminum ties, carbon compounds for the steel and agricultural and industries. So it's it's cross ties and railroads, wood preservation chemicals, stuff used to treat the cross ties, right? Lots of products for utilities. Think telephone poles, treated wood. Again, super boring business, produces lots of cash flow, really great financials, just kind of sitting there. And I promise you, that's one that absolutely nobody's talking about. And then one that I love, and this company has the lumpiest earnings of all time. Okay. It's like it'll have a loss one quarter and then make a gazillion bucks the next quarter. But if you love sports, and Ryan, I know you do,
live for it.
But if you think of those great, big, flashy scoreboards and the lighted stadium signage all around there, okay? And basketball, auditoriums, football, baseball, some of the major college and professional fields, including like Cowboy Stadium. And then they also do the traffic signage, the electronic signs there. They do lighted displays. It's a company called Daktronics, DAKT. And again, this is one of those ones that just sits on my bear market list, right? It's a smaller cap company. We're getting up to a replacement cycle, believe it or not, in scoreboards and some of the bigger ones. And when they do one of these, they have a monster blowout quarter. Paying attention to the analysts on these things is just an exercise in futility. I don't know why they bother, except they kind of have to. Daktronics DAKT is another one. So let's go. Let's try this right. And then, by the way, that particular screen you can do really, really easily and quickly on Pro.
You want me to duplicate it here real fast?
Sure. If you want to do that on Pro, you might come up with some others. A lot of my small banks are on.
So what we have F score
and market cap under $1 billion. That's it.
So F score 7 to 9 and market cap under $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
That's Tim. That's an easy one. You're making it easy on me here today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't. I have to do the letters.
Yeah, and you got that's just a quick sort. So you're going to get some banks and you're going to get some closed-end funds and some other stuff and some weird stuff. And American Public Education is on there, and they do a lot of nursing schools, and so that kind of feeds into the trade school theme that we've talked about.
Your COP is the second on the list and sorted by market cap. There's DAKT on there too. Both of these are on there.
Yeah, and there's just there's some great little businesses down in micro cap land, and you can even find them. And I didn't sort these for cheap, and we're not going to do that this morning, but you can sort them for cheap. And find some undervalued companies. You can also do something cool with the small cap universe, and we'll talk about this. And actually, we may do a show on this pretty quick on our Tuesday night webinars. But you go into smaller micro cap stocks, right? And you find those with debt to equity ratios over 1, but where this year's debt is lower than last year's debt. And what you've just done is replicated and a very low multiple of free cash flow. What you've just done is recreated private equity, a successful private equity investment. Cash flow producing, sound financials, good business, repaying debt, cleaning up the balance sheet. That's the secret of private equity. Okay, and Rasmussen was, by the way, Verde was the one that did the study. Bain Capital paid him to do a study on how Bain's operational excellence and management skills made everybody all this money that they made in the 90s and 2000s. And Rasmussen came back and he said, "You're going to fire me for this." And they did. But that's not what happened. You were no more or no less brilliant than anybody else in the private equity business. What you did is you borrowed a bunch of small companies using leverage, and then you used the cash flow to repay the leverage, and that created equity value. And that is the secret of your success. And that's exactly how, if you want to replicate what's going on in private equity, small cap companies, large amount of debt, repaying the debt, free cash flow positive, and you've got a private equity replication portfolio that actually has worked pretty well over time.
What do you think of this comment, Tim? EKS, the key is little to no debt, generates tons of free cash flow in a growing business.
It doesn't necessarily have to be growing. That's the only thing I'll disagree with there. It can be a stable business generating tons of free cash flow. This is one of the things Wall Street gets spectacularly wrong. If you've got a company that's sitting there and it's not growing, but it's just continually generating tons of free cash flow. It's trading at 6 times free cash flow, and it just sits there. Well, they can pay the dividend, they can raise the dividend, they can grow the dividend, they can buy companies that add to the value of the business. That business doesn't necessarily have to be growing to be valuable. And it's coming up on 8:56, so I don't have time to do that and get into one of my long-winded stories. But private equity, they're looking for free cash flow. If they're amateurs and pikers and they don't really know what the hell they're doing, they're looking for free cash flow yields over 10%. If they actually know what they're doing, they're looking for EV to EBIT yields over 15. Okay, somebody once asked Leon Black how come they were so much more successful at Apollo with their rates of return, and they were, than everybody else with their private equity deals. And he said, it's easy. They pay 10x, we pay 7 or less. So that made all the difference. So the cheaper you can get these, and you can use, we used to use F score, Z score, reducing debt on highly leveraged small caps with a great deal of success. So
All of those things can be done in pro too. So that's great.
Yes, those can be done in pro, and we're going to run out of time. So, but this tests through Rasmussen's theory on microcaps in Europe, and it comes through in Japan as well. And in Japan, you've got to take a look because we're starting to see the unloading, right? The unlocking of the value of cross holdings. Everything in Japan's been incestuous for decades. Okay, where it's kind of like the virtuous circle of AI. All right, I'm going to buy your air conditioners for my factory, but if I'm I'm going to be your customer. I'm also going to buy some stock in your company. Well, that's fine. I'm going to sell you my air conditioners, but I'm also going to buy some stock in your company. Lots of cross holdings among companies, and lots of corporate cousins in Japan that they have large cross holdings of each other's stocks. There's been kind of a mandate from on high to reform corporate governance in Japan. We're starting to see some of these be unloaded. They're being unloaded by private sale, by an IPO, a sale of the stock of other companies that you own, a sale into the marketplace, and it's starting to unlock a lot of corporate value. So when you hear all the stories, Japan, interest rates, inflation, going to crash the world, it's all coming from Japan, those evil, forget that part of the story. Japan's growing. There's a little bit of inflation there for the first time in forever. And the corporate governance changes are massive, right? And then the other thing that I'll point out, and a lot of these popped up on the list, is there's a lot more value in the Hong Kong office and apartment market than people realize. Hong Kong is within about an hour's train ride of all the tech centers of China. And so they are kind of banking the Chinese technology expansion, and they are a window through which a lot of the outside cash passes in to China. So anyway, there we go, guys. That's kind of what I've got for you guys this week. I mean, I had a ton more, but I ran out of time.
Yeah, that's okay. We're going to have you back. So don't worry about all that. Really good stuff here today, as per usual, Tim. And I'm glad we did get that SaaS there at some point. I was worried.
Well, I mean, you're always going to get a little bit from me. So anyway,
we look forward to it.
Yeah, Bill, look, start pulling a little bit of cash back. If the market's expensive, we are seeing the first signs of out there. And I told you early on that the longer this conflict in Iran went on, the more dangerous it was.
Yeah, and you were right. Trump obviously said 6 weeks. We're going on 6 months now. So obviously a lot longer than he initially said. That was one of the things you had said right off the bat.
And here's the problem, and I'm going to close with this just because it'll piss everybody off, and then I can duck out of here, which is like my favorite exit mode.
Yeah, leave them to me. Great.
Yeah, no problem. There's no exit on this thing. Okay, there's no good exit because we misunderstood the Iranian mindset going into this. They're willing to let it drag. They're willing to let it go. And if you want to blow up their stuff and kill their citizens, you got a long way to go to kill as many Iranians as the Iranians have done during this conflict. So they have a higher pain threshold than I think we realized. This probably is going to drag on for a while. And the longer it goes on, the more you're going to wish you listened to old Uncle Tim and piled up a little bit of cash to take advantage of volatility. Remember, volatility is either your best friend or your worst nightmare. Choose wisely. Okay. That's all I got, guys.
That's a good way to sign off. Thank you, Tim. We'll catch you next week. Appreciate you.
Have a very great week, everybody. We'll talk again soon.
Tim Melvin, everybody. We always get more than we bargained for with Tim, and that's a good thing, believe me. All right, real quick before we go to 13 here, I do want to do street tweets. I got 2 for you, and one is as cringy as it gets. Sorry. All right, first one here is from the Bull Theory. South Korea's finance minister just called an emergency meeting with regulators and the central bank. This happened as the Kospi crashes 40% from its all-time highs and triggered circuit breakers for 2 consecutive sessions for the first time in the history of the index. Lawmakers are now demanding that the finance minister's resignation over the leveraged ETF policy, which is being blamed for the crash. Now, the reason that I'm bringing this up is because we talked about ETFs as they were proliferating a lot here. There were a lot of folks here that said, ETFs might end up being a problem later on down the road. Well, South Korea's like, hold my beer. I'm going to show you how much of a problem that is. Now this finance minister looks like he's going to get the axe, it seems. We'll see if this turns around here or if we have another day of circuit breakers. Producer, next tweet. I almost can't believe this when I read this. Arizona State has launched a degree on becoming an influencer. Folks, we're cooked. I mean, whatever happened to math and science and computer science and engineering and things that built things? Arizona State launching a degree on becoming an influencer. For heaven's sakes. Let me get your thoughts. Sounds like an art degree. I mean, you might even be able to squeeze more money out of this one. I don't know, but let me know if you have any thoughts on this one. Again, couldn't believe that I read that here this morning. All right, let's get basket weaving version 2. Oh, big bees, man. That is good stuff. All right, folks, let's go to something way less cringy than that. Let's go to 13. Good morning, 13.
Hey, good morning. I'm feeling a little less cringy today.
Let's go.
How's your
Let's
back?
go. You know what? Thank you for asking. It is a little bit better here today. I can walk, and I didn't fall over as the first thing in the morning at 4:30 when I got out of bed. So we're going to glass half full. Hopefully I'm able to get my 3.5 miles in here today. I should feel better from that. Real quickly, some more comments here. Alvin says that is such a waste. Anne Marie says nothing to say there. We live in a hall of mirrors.
Have we not experienced enough of student loan debt problems that we don't need to start borrowing to get into crap like this?
Dude, I don't even,
Are we not learning? Is our children learning?
Is our children, they're leering, in fact, you might say.
I guess so.
Man, oh man, too much peyote in Arizona. That's one of the funnier comments.
Yeah, I don't really think we're doing too much of that out here in Texas. We got, we got TSA, we got, STEM program. We got a good amount of stuff going on here. And now we're about to open a mega factory not too far away from me. So Tesla can make more. It's a mega factory that Tesla's built. They're going to be making mega blocks and mega packs for industrial scale battery storage. So one of the big things we're doing out here. Can't wait. But
Lance says, Ryan, you should take the course and then you'll have another degree to hang on your wall. I can't tell if that's an insult or a jab or not. I'd rather have something like, something like for physics hanging on the wall.
That's more of a doormat you can wipe your feet with.
I was going to say influencer, more of a doormat than anything else. That's good. All right, 13. What do you want to start with here today? You have any individual stocks? Should we hit the movers first?
Yeah, there's only a couple movers I looked at because a lot of them are some old ex-girlfriends here that have come back to provide some more trades here for us. We still have DFNS providing upside here.
Okay, so we'll start with some positives here. So we talked about DFNS being very careful about this. You'll be happy to know that Jane held it overnight against what we often say and woke up to, quote, pure happiness this morning, end quote. So that is a really good thing. We'll start with that. I would say now that that's out of the way, my initial thought on this 13 is you have to be careful with DFNS. If you look at this is day 3 of this large move. I don't know if you even want to start to look at the Tuesday, July 21st, where the thing had a ton of volume, really kind of kicked it off. This is the 3rd straight day of this move. The pre-market volume today is lower than the past 2 days. Let's see on the regular session there. I'd just be a bit nervous with this.
Yeah, this one, right place, right time, small float, a very small float. And, you got another, I think it was another gentleman or another company taking a stake. There was a company taking a stake in this. And we've seen moves like this before, where another company or another person takes a stake in a company. It goes on a multi-day move. I don't know where the party ends. Maybe we do see higher prints than we got in the pre-market here, 42.50. But I feel like this would be chasing. And with the evaluation of this, I don't really think it's necessarily justified up here. So trade it if you like, but just understand that there's a lot of risk, holding this up here and trying to trade it higher. Maybe it does push into the 50s or the 60s. I don't know exactly where this party ends, but we saw it, the wild moves out of the gate and then immediately gave that back. So it's one of those things to be careful with.
Yeah, and EKS, the ticker is DFNS. That's Delta Frank November Sierra for your ticker for mover number one.
Thanks.
All right, good stuff there, DFNS. What else did you cover from your list? Let's start with some of the meat on the bone.
I looked at NCRA and AMIX.
Perfect. Those are the top two. It's like we planned this or something. NCRA, this is Nocera. This is a Taiwanese company. Stock traded up to 453, 454. It looks like they're in the pre-market. Nocera shares are trading higher after the company announced it acquired a 30% interest in QMax technology. Now, I will just say this right off the bat. I'm not sure what QMax is. I'm sure we can get that from the press release, but I'm also sure that 13 has already done that, so I won't waste any time. Quick peek at the short interest here. Wow, we must have had, it looks like our float was recently adjusted here. Did we have a recent split? Let's see.
Yes.
Indeed, we had a recent reverse split, a 1 for 30. This happened on July 7th, so it is 21 days old. That is going to affect the float here. So the float, or the percent of float short was just roughly anywhere between 2 and 3% prior to the split. Says it's 39% now. The short interest did go up a little bit, so I would imagine that that's still pretty elevated. Days to cover here, 1. Float 1.35 million shares on average. This thing trades 750,000 shares, but today it's done 42 million plus. All right, 13, break this down like a fraction for us.
So this, it's taking a stake, a 30% stake in QMax, which is a Taiwan-based authorized distributor for Micron and Crucial memory and storage products. Great piece of news, seeing as how there's still a lot of demand for that. What's also interesting is that if you look at the last piece of the last section of news they had, which is back on July 8th, you'll see that they also acquired an equity stake in Energex, INERGX, and they're expanding their AI energy infrastructure and battery storage platform. That also caused the stock to pop that day. It went as high as 390, right about where the price is right now, and it came right back down. We only saw $3 after that move, which happened in the pre-market that day, and then it just went back to trading sideways. So I'm starting to wonder, what is this company doing? What are they doing getting all these, equity stakes in these different companies that all kind of seem to be working in the same space of AI data center buildouts? That's very interesting to me. So I don't know if we're going to see we'll probably end up seeing the same thing that happened on July 8th, where this trades up. It might go on a regular session, run for a little bit, and come back in. But they are really doing something here, getting all these different equity stakes in different companies that are all within the that same AI build out theme. Don't know. I haven't looked into exactly what they're trying to do here, but they are in the industry of construction and engineering, and I thought that was pretty interesting. But unfortunately, the company only has a little bit of revenue, some cash, and it's not profitable. And it has a 1.35 million share float, so this could get pushed around pretty easily, and then get yanked right underneath our feet and come in. So thinking maybe not right now is the time, as this is already kind of gone on the run, and I feel like this would be chasing. I'd be interested to see what happens after the open, but I feel like this also needs a little bit more due diligence, because there's something going on here with NCRA that they're working on, with taking all these equity stakes within these this ecosystem of building out data centers. So something I think that would maybe, if you're interested in it, you could look into further. But I just am a little concerned about a repeat of what happened on July 8th with that same kind of news.
Okay, so this is what actually happened per AI in plain English. Nocera issued 300,000 shares. It's about $408,000 of value to acquire economic control of 30% of QMax. They paid zero cash, so this is just pure stock dilution. The stake is held via a VIE, which is a variable interest entity. It is not direct ownership. QMax is a small Taiwan-based reseller distributor of Micron and Crucial memory products, as you alluded to earlier. QMax did about 1.36 million in revenue in 2025. This is a very, very small scale acquisition. So that's what it actually does. They purchased stock for $408,000, or they used stock to purchase the company for $408,000. The revenue that they acquire is 1.36 million. So it's likely a low margin distribution. It's not meaningless, but this certainly doesn't transform the business.
So could see a similar result to July 8th. Where we popped and then we just came right back in. Now I didn't notice the
here is that July 8th really quick, just so everyone can see that. You were absolutely right. We popped big in the pre-market, round tripped. We did have a move higher in the regular session, but ultimately this stock just whimpered into the night.
Yeah, I didn't notice that 7.5 million share resale filing. It doesn't show up here on my newsfeed. I imagine it would, but just the fact that they're trying to expand into these different companies within the same ecosystem is interesting, and it seems like they're working on something. I just didn't have time to get to the bottom of what.
The reverse split happened on 7/7.
Yeah, that was the reverse split. But EKS was mentioning that there was a share resale filing on the 9th. I didn't see that in the newsfeed here. Anyway, for this, I have...
It's because it came in the 8th here. It's going to be one of the forums from Wednesday, July 8th. And then the first day it was reacted to was the 9th. I'm guessing.
In any event, $4 is the current resistance. I guess we could draw some trend lines to kind of give us a target, although I'm not sure.
This is going to be vertical, dude.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if we're going to necessarily get that.
I've got fair value gaps for you. I've got 2 unmitigated fair value gaps on the chart. I've outlined them as such.
I mean, if we blow through 4, maybe we go to the trend line and we could see 5.5 or 6. This depends on how soon we get there, but I'm not really leaning on that. It looks like it's starting to slow down here. Volume isn't that great. Let's see. I would just wait and see what we get in the open here with this. Okay.
All right. Good stuff there. Good breakdown there. NCRA. I think you said the other one that you had on your list here was going to be Amex, correct? Now I see a much better trend line here, 13. Before we even talk about it, I'm just going to go ahead and plot it so it's on there. All right, real quick. This is Autonomics Medical. Stock is up nearly 60%. Looks like it did find some resistance there in the 5 handle, just about 520. But it's still holding higher here, which looks pretty good. American company. Let me go back to the all on the news feed here. Let's see. Right, so we had another form here yesterday. An offering?
Yeah, an offering. I think what happened is an offering pulled it down, and now it's rallying on the post-offering. It's like a post-offering rebound. We've seen this happen before with another stock we were trading. I think it was last week. They had an offering. It pulled the stock price down, and then it rebounded the next day as a result of the oversold condition.
Yeah, so this is interesting here. They announced a registered offering of 857,000 shares for resale upon exercise of the Series D common stock purchase warrants, with an exercise price of $575. So the registration covers a minimum aggregate offering price of $3.2 million. If fully exercised for cash, the warrants would generate $4.9 million in gross proceeds for the company. In a separate Tuesday filing, Autonomics disclosed a cash balance of approximately $5.1 million. So, okay, well, that's there with the offering. Short interest on this one, 3.14%, 1 day to cover. Float on this thing, micro float. I've got it at 524,000. 13, take it away.
Yeah, the company is also working on it's a healthcare device manufacturer, but they are working on a neural sensing platform for localizing and confirming changes in renal neural activity. I thought that was the most interesting piece of what the company has going on. But of course, they haven't sold any of these things yet because they have no revenue. They do have some cash. It's not so. As a result, it's not profitable. So that's probably why you're seeing a lot of this selling occur once the price reaches 5. No closes up at that level, and that continues to be the big resistance level for the moment. I also have a resistance at VWAP, and we could also kind of put it out there at 485. Those are going to be the next few resistance levels to the upside that I see, but it's leaning on the 65 EMA as support, which if we lose, I certainly believe that we're going back down to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute with a stop possibly at $4 looking for support there. That's a psychological number.
And that 485 level is about as clear as day. I have it outlined here by the cursor. So, okay.
This one could get pushed around pretty easily, just like the last one. They're very, very low float names that these two that we looked at here. So we'll see what ends up happening. But those are the only two I really looked at because all the other ones are pretty much names that we've been trading for the past.
Speaking of which, Vivek, which is one that we recently just traded. Look at the move that this is doing on volume here. We do have some news. Vivekor updates guidance of crude oil marketing platform to approximately 1.5 billion annually. Let me actually go through the PR. I have a sneaking suspicion that this may be more promotional than anything else, but let me break it down here for you when 13 takes over. Quick peek at the short interest, 2.27%, 1 day to cover. Float on this still under $1 million. We've seen Vivek go ham before. Looks like it's starting to do it again. 13, do you have any levels that we should be made aware of?
Let me look at that while you read into this. Because I was just reading that PR myself. Oh, wow. Okay. So I guess there's a steep trend line there. Not really sure how I would draw this. I'm just going to avoid that for the moment and look to the left. We are coming up to, so it looks like 320, 325 might be a bit of a spot of resistance. I can see that there's a seller on the way there as well. And this is kind of where the price was topping out in the regular session last Friday, I think it was. Is that the 24th? Yes. So, that's one area of resistance. If we manage past that, we could see some of the highs that we were making it going into the open that day. When it did open, it hit 392. So that maybe that could be a level. I'm not sure if I would necessarily lean on that as much as I would perhaps 360 as a resistance area. So I guess for now that would be the next few resistance areas I see to the upside. I really don't have a whole lot more on
I've got some. For the moment. That's okay. I've got some more stuff for you. Derek, first of all, is asking, didn't Vivek announce something similar last week? Yes, as a matter of fact, they did. Friday, July 24th, they announced 2 new recurring crude oil programs that may generate $384 million. They expect $1.09 billion plus of annualized commercial activity. And then before that, Tuesday, July 21st, Vivekor announces 4 recurring physical crude oil purchases and sale transactions with 2 unnamed clients worth a combined $289 million annually. So, Derek, you are exactly right. Now, what are they really saying? Vivekor is acting as a middleman for physical crude oil. They've added new contracts to buy and resell oil, and they do about 500,000 barrels a month in terms of volume. The platform is 1.54 million barrels per month, and they frame this as 1.5 billion in annualized commercial activity. So the headline number of 1.5 billion is basically the barrels times the oil price. So it's roughly 18.4 million times 80 gets you to 1.5 billion. So there it is. This is one of those press releases that sounds huge, but you actually need to kind of dive into it. Thank God we have AI to do it for us in 3 seconds.
Big part of this, story here is gross profit remains a fraction of activity. So even though they're throwing out these big numbers, they're not making a whole lot from it.
Yeah, I mean, it is real volume growth, and that does matter. But to your point, not doing much for the profit, at least not yet. Yeah. Okay, so short-term sentiment, positive headline, likely a bullish reaction. Fundamentally, this is neutral to mildly positive, and it is not a game changer. Okay, 13. I did notice a couple of other ex-girlfriends on here. GMM, this is Global Mafi or Mafi AI. We've actually talked about this on Happy Hour. One of our guys made a killing off of this. It is a China stock. It's trading higher after the company reported a year-over-year increase in H1 sales results. Did you want to cover this one? It's okay if you don't, because we can just kind of go through these and then move over. I need to step away for a sec.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. So they just had. Oh God.
Do you want to go through this one? Should I do it during this one?
Sure. We'll just do that. Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Okay. So they reported their year-over-year increase in H1 sales results, but their EPS is down significantly. So we'd have to read into why that is and why it's trading up higher here. And except for, of course, I'm sure it's the year-over-year revenue. I guess we're just going to ignore the big EPS loss that we had there. As far as the chart goes, let's pull this up and see. So we are trying to come back up to VWAP, and VWAP has been a bit of a resistance area this morning. Since we opened here and we popped up to 402, came right back in, been struggling to get back and hold above VWAP all morning. We do have a few closes on the 5-minute chart above VWAP, but ultimately it all still came back in. It also got a little bit of resistance from the 350 area as well. Now we're coming back up to those levels, and if we get enough volume, and it's interesting that we're coming up to them right as we approach the open. If we do get the volume, we could see a breakthrough, not just the 350 area, but VWAP as well, because VWAP is just right beneath 350. So that's going to be the very next thing that I would be watching for with GMM. Do we go up to that 350 area and have enough volume to break out? Very easy to tell what's going to happen if we don't. Like we reverse and come right back in and get some support initially from the 65 EMA. But I don't know if it'll hold up. To the downside, we, of course, have the 200 EMA. We've already leaned on once this morning. And the 3 to 310 area also looks like that could provide some measure of support as well. But that's if we start to sink. Right now, we're still moving up. We're coming up into some sideways consolidation from the pre-market as we approach that 350 area. Just need to have that volume expand. We can get up there.
Okay. Really good stuff there. GMM. I noticed Kathy had mentioned SkyQ. This is up 25. So, what's that?
That's on the list too. The movers list. It's on the list. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I picked it.
Oh, okay.
Kathy mentioned it. Kathy mentioned it. It's on the movers list here, so we might as well cover it. SkyQ up 24.23% here. This is actually trying to get above the after hours high yesterday. Here's what the chart looks like if you back out a couple of days. So there's actually a range in here where this thing can go. I would say 505 is probably your next resistance, then maybe 560s after that. But trading up here, quick reminder of the short interest on this one, 14.74% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. So elevated, but not high. Still a micro flow. And moving with oil.
Look at the last week on Thursday and Friday. Kind of interesting. You had the open on Thursday and the close on Friday almost in the same spot. So about 465, 470. That looks like that could be a resistance area because it was formerly support before we lost it on Monday this week. So that kind of is sticking out there as a potential resistance area, that 465, 470. And we're not too far away from it. So going to want to see a break through that and to hold above that level if we're going to want to, more upside. That's what I'd be watching for at this moment with SkyQ.
Okay. All right. Good stuff with SkyQ 13. I think I'm going to flip over to the main workspace to kind of get ready for the trading day. If there's any other stocks that you want to break down, we can always go to the bigger chart as well. We could check in on some of these movers and how they're doing into the open. NCRA, Kathy had mentioned this earlier. I forgot to mention it. NCRA restricted on Schwab. And Kathy, I also want to call something else out here real quick for you and the rest of the group. As this bot continues to get developed on my end, I'm going to be adding tickers from our movers list here to try and trade, especially the fair value gap strategy. Right now, I'm trying to get it dialed in on big, predictable stocks that are a part of the market, but I am going to start adding some of these later on. I really appreciate you telling the entire group if it's restricted on Schwab, because I'm going to be using the Schwab API to execute those trades. And if it's restricted, they're going to reject me and I might get some weird error. It might stop something, or this, that, and the other thing. So please keep that coming. I don't know if I've shown enough appreciation for it. It is very helpful to me, especially because I'm, running a show here. But now on top of it, I'm going to be selectively adding some of these small caps to the trading bot trading universe. And I don't want to add anything that is restricted. So thank you for doing that. If I haven't said it enough already, please continue to do it. There's value in that. Okay, now that PSA is out of the way, we can get back down to brass tacks here.
Two names that have been coming up here that I've been seeing that we're getting asked about: SpaceX and SNDK. SpaceX, we're being asked if this is starting to turn around, maybe get a little bit of upside. GMM is making its way toward the VWAP, by the way. But SpaceX, this was starting to look like buyers were beginning to step in last week. If you look at Thursday and Friday, we were getting down to the 110 area, and it was getting picked back up. Same thing with Monday. As soon as we went under that 110 area, we had buyers really step in and pull this thing back up towards, I think got as high as 118. Yeah, we did. So now here we are, a little bit lower of an open. Could we go back higher? I would say that 120 is still possible. I think that that is one of the next big resistance areas. And every $5, there appears to be a former support, now a resistance level. So every $5 could feature a measure of resistance that could either turn the price around or stall it from continuing higher. Several things to keep in mind, though, as we still have time. Several things to keep in mind with SpaceX. They are reporting Q2 earnings on August 4th. So next week we find out a little bit more about what the company's got going on under the hood. And there is going to be a share unlock event. That's when up to 20% of the, I think it's like roughly 40% of the outstanding shares are going to be unlocked during that second quarter earnings time. We won't have an additional 10% because we're not holding above the performance threshold.
And it doesn't look like we're in any danger of getting above that threshold.
Nope. And after that, we're going to get 13 Fs. So we'll find out who's going to be holding this. We're going to see Google's holding it. Maybe we'll find out if they ended up picking some up in June or not.
This is just, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but this is like a lightning bolt out of the heavens. I obviously have access to the Benzinga API, so I might be able to hook an AI program up to those 13F releases. Think about some of the information you want. I'll see if I can build something that kind of distills that for us quickly so we can spend less time preparing and more time planning a trade. Okay. So just think about that offhand here. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Real quick, we will have the 13Fs. There's going to be another 7% share unlock tranche that's happening at the 70-day mark. That'll be on August 21st. And then we're going to get a Starship test flight, just like 14, that could feature the Starship being caught by the tower. Let's open this thing.
Well, look how well that was timed. Look how well that was timed. Well, and I almost threw you off. I see what you were trying to do, and I almost threw you off, and you still got it done. Let's go.
We open up here with GM going right to that 350 and VWAP area. Initially out of the open here, it's getting rejected, but not breaking down. We're still kind of in that consolidation area from the pre-market. We'll see if we can hold above, I would say, 330, 335. If we can hold above that and the 65 EMA, there may be the next visit up to that 350 area with VWAP could be a breakthrough, as long as the volume is there to match. These other ones we're looking at, Vivek, this is coming back in as kind of we thought with this rise into the open.
Yeah, so, that's blew through the VWAP and a fair value gap area too. So,
but it's coming down to the breakout spot. If you look at the pre-market here, it was trying to get past 265 for a good portion of the morning. And finally at 8:20, we had a big candle, big volume candle that took us up through it. So that area we can now look at as a support level. We'll see if it holds up here, since that is kind of a demand zone that it came down to.
DFNS halted to the upside. VRRM, which is Vero Mobility, is coming back in. We'll see if that gets to the VWAP there at 553. That might be here it is, right to 550. So a decent little pull there. We'll see if we get any type of bounce here on Vera.
Thanks for bringing this up, Retro. So Ford is opening higher. We yesterday we talked about this because we were watching the earnings. This move looks like it could get sold into, and it seems like it did initially here right out of the open. We kind of dropped down to about 1525, I think. Is that what the price was? 1524. before we pop back up. But I think with the how close we are to being oversold, I'm not sure that there's a whole lot more left of upside for Ford before it starts getting some selling pressure. So that's kind of where I'm at with Ford. And it could still come up to 20, but it's not. I don't think it's going to do it today or right away. There's going to be some back and forth on the way up, in my opinion.
We also have a trend line that we would need to break there on Ford. Kudos to you, because you actually called the Ford pullback yesterday in the after hours when we saw the pop.
All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, so AMIX, now we're starting to get some movement here. It just moved through VWAP, trying to hit those highs in the pre-market. Still finding some sellers in the way there at that particular part of the like the 520, 525 area. So that's still not happening. NCRA is kind of sideways out of the open.
Via RRM had no bounce at the VWAP, just went right through it. That's still looking for a bottom. Might get one there around 530, but that's not a guarantee.
And GMM, after that that tap of 350 in the VWAP, it's come back down to the 65 VMA. And now it's just kind of hanging out between these two indicators, the 65 and the VWAP.
SPY also came in off the open there. It's actually trying to bounce here from the trying to bounce from 739. Easy for me to say. We'll see if SPY can get that rolling here. Premiums are elevated, it looks like.
Zach, that's probably the case. And it seems like that's been the thing that the market's been doing lately. And I'm not sure if it's just the Fed that they're waiting for. I really think it's earnings. And the reason I believe that is because if you look at the SPY, look at the price action we had prior to the 2 Mag 7 earnings that we had last week. It was kind of hanging out, doing very little. And then we had those 2 earnings. The market went down and started going sideways into another channel. And the whole time we were holding 738. We've been holding 738 for 4 days in a row, just waiting for the next earnings print to come along. And now that day is today. So with these earnings prints that we're going to get tonight and tomorrow night, we should see either the next leg down or maybe a reversal. Don't know exactly which way the market's going to take us next, but I think we're going to get out of this consolidation we've been in with these earnings the next 2 days.
Bloom Energy pulled to the lows of the after hours in the pre-market and is trying to bounce. We'll see if that has enough strength to do so. Kathy mentioning Teradyne, ticker TER. This is also up. Teradyne shares are higher after the company reported better than expected Q2 financial results and issued Q3 guidance above estimates. This actually looks like this is trying to break the 371 and go higher. That would break the impulse move from the candle. That would definitely be a level to watch there. Kathy's also mentioning Snow, which is up 6% here. Snow popping right out of the open. Do we have any news on this? No. Top analyst sees 85% upside for Snowflake stock.
Vivek really coming in now. It looks like it's headed towards a 65 EMA.
Teva, this is a generic drug manufacturer. This is higher after earnings. This is higher by 11% too.
We've traded that one before.
Oh yeah, Teva's been a big one.
And what do we think about Teradyne with being that it's in the semiconductor space and it just had positive earnings and now it's ripping? Like, kind of flies in the face of this idea that the semiconductors and chips are coming back in, which they still could weaken. But look at the excitement for this.
Yeah, I think this is Derek mentioned something earlier here in the chat. I didn't get a chance to repeat it, but Derek was saying, take this with a grain of salt. I found mediocre or bad guidance can overwrite good earnings. Teradyne's the opposite of that, right? This was a raise guide, so it looks like it's at least got that going for it here.
There was one that we looked at yesterday that was exactly that. Had great earnings, but the guide wasn't great, and that guidance is what's going to pull investors out of the market. I want to say it was CLAC, but I don't think that
KLAC.
Yeah.
AMIX is halted. Okay, guys, AMIX is halted. DFNS is also halted. So that opened and halted. Here are your halt times. 9:35:47 for AMIX, halt to the upside on a break of that pre-market sideways structure. DFNS
and through your trend line.
9:36:10. Sorry, 13.
And through your trend line and AMIX. The one that you drew.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't redraw that. I beg your pardon. And I actually think I drew it this way.
Yeah.
Yep.
So halted through the trend line. Vivek down close to the 65 EMA. We'll see if there's a bounce coming here. GMM is getting a bounce off at 65 EMA, trying to come back up to VWAP. Maybe with these other two movers halted, these ones that are trying to reverse will get a little bit more attention. So we'll see. And then you said DFNS. Okay, so that's halted to the downside after just barely touching $44. This, when this unhalts, we'll see what happens around VWAP and the 65 EMA. Those are the next two support levels to the downside. Cake. So it's interesting too, because restaurants were getting mentioned earlier this week by some in our happy hour group that they liked, and Cake. I've always been keeping an eye on this one because they had a high short interest. I've been thinking they could go on a squeeze here. Looking at Cake right now, Cheesecake Factory, 26% of the float is shorted with 6.72 days to cover. This one and Dave & Buster's have always been on my potential short squeeze list. And Dave & Buster's also with elevated short squeeze short interest, over 42% of the float shorted with just about 5 days to cover. So, thanks for bringing that up, Jay. These are certainly ones to keep an eye on here for a potential squeeze. And Cake, man, this thing is just taken off this year.
Navitas plus $1.
All right.
We get asked about Navitas here quite often. Just notice that that's going up. Here's your Cheesecake Factory. When's the last time you've been to Cheesecake Factory?
It's been a while, but look at the daily chart, or even better, look at the monthly. And I think you can see the trend line that I've got drawn here. We just broke through it this month. Did we do it today? Yes, we're over the trend line today.
Is this what you're talking? Yep, this has got to be it.
Yeah. Massive trend line. We're over it today, but we're also very, very extended. So I wouldn't be surprised if this started to come back in because we have an daily RSI of 78. At the very least, we're going to fill this gap to the downside. And if we get the support at the trend line, well, I think that would be good news. So something to watch for there. What else we got here? So we got Vivicor trying to turn around, recapture VWAP. GMM rejected at VWAP again, back down to the 65 EMA. Still waiting for AMIX to unhalt. And NCRA.
It's okay. Alan, you go to Cheesecake Factory about 3 times a year. Is their menu still like a book? Because I feel like they have a million options there. But nonetheless, stock has been a good performer. No question about it.
Based on what I was seeing from people at the visiting from the World Cup, it is still a novel.
Yep.
AST is up 3.42%. So I wonder if we're seeing some recovery here in the space names. Doesn't look like all of them are really faring too well, but there are some pockets of green here. ASTS is up 1%. I think that's the one that's up the most.
Alan, that menu is as big as the Bible. That's a big book. That is a big book.
And when you open it, you'll say, Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Whoa.
Sorry. So this AMX still halted. Vivek still trying to get back above the VWAP. And we're kind of just hanging out in no man's land here with the GMM, just sideways here. Still waiting for some unhalts to happen. But I think it's just we just got to wait. One from yesterday, FIRY, that I liked and ended up not being that great after we opened. This coming back up here looks like the resistance it's running into could be here about 1030. The next level after that, maybe 1075, and then I would say 1130, 1125. The next few levels to the upside here on Fiery as it tries to recover.
Nice range carved out by yesterday's candle. So this definitely has some room to keep going. By the way, for anyone that's interested, remember these are all still paper trades until I switch it over to real time. The bot took a cloud move on Apple and Now, and it also took a 0 DTE scalp on the Qs. It looks like it bought the 674 call. I'll let you know how those play out.
IQV, Dodie is bringing up.
Which one? IQ what?
IQV.
V is in Victor. Got it.
Yes.
AMIX is Yeah, Amex and DFNS are open. Sorry, let me just go to them real quick. Amex continues to push higher, at least in the initial open there. DFNS looks like it's rolling lower.
And then IQV is IQVIA Holdings. This popped up to its January high, which is the high of the year. Hasn't been able to clear it yet, but we are getting a potential golden cross coming probably next week. But this is also very overbought. I don't think I'd be a buyer up here with how extended this has become. I think I'd wait for a pullback.
Guys, Bloom Energy, that pulled right out of the open. That's trying to bounce right now. No trade on this, but this is trying to bounce. By the way, bot closed out the QQQ 0 DTE scalp for $130 there on 5 contracts. Not bad. Not bad. Other 2 open trades are still in the green, so we're cooking here. Bloom Energy, though, who was looking at Bloom Energy post earnings? Anyone going to try and play this for a move back up to what, 180s or so?
Bloom trying to hold its 200-day SMA, and if we can get back above and hold it, I think that would be bullish for the stock. It means we've got to close above 177.50.
I bought Bloom just before close yesterday. Brandon, so that worked. What are you doing? What's your exit plan on Bloom? It sounds like you bought it for the earnings print itself. DFNS acting like NUKK. Don't you love it, Lion? You got to love that. BE is a buy for me. Okay, so you're buying it right here at 175, Lion? Am I getting that right? I just want to make sure I don't misunderstand what you're trying to imply there.
Amex still holding above the trend line. NCRA coming in lower, but do you have a fair value area for NCRA? Because it's coming down to a former resistance level before we broke out in the pre-market that took us up to 455. Wondering if this area where it's at right now, around 255, is going to be the support that gets us to reverse the price action.
So yes to your initial question. Here's I've got 2 fair value gap areas. The first one here is right to about the bottom of this candle. The second one we're in right now, 13. So that second one was right in here to here. We have actually breached that fair value gap. So I'd be looking at 228 here now. That's going to be near the top end of the more conservative gap.
It looks like SpaceX coming down some more, but it looks like it's getting some support around the 113.50 area. That was
Jay Wild, all out Amex at the highs. Hey, register ring for our guy Jay. Let's go.
Nice.
This is right.
Ocean Power had compliance news. Let's take a look at that, because
that's OPTT, right? Yeah. Ocean Power Technologies, OPTT.
Oh, okay. Look at this. Well, it's down at a pretty low price here. Actually, down at the support it was getting back in 2024. We'll see this reversal. This thing is super oversold too. Super oversold.
Great short for Vivek Westcap, shorting these micro caps that are under $5. Yeah, you must feel real good about that trade plan. Look at this short. Way to go, Westcap. You're going to get a register ring too. And then a couple of other comments here I wanted to address. Sell asking, Ryan, are you paper trading on SPY and Qs? Anything else? So the 0 DTE strategy only looks at SPY and only looks at Qs. The other strategies that I have, like the fair value gap, the multi-time frame cloud, and the cloud curl strategy, those all look at a defined universe of equities. These are all the big AI names that have a lot of volume every day. So that's what the universe is. If you have a specific question on a specific stock, I can look it up, but I don't want to list all of them. And then the other thing here, Jay mentioning AMKR, which is another stock that we have been trading about. Or trading recently, AMKR, Jay saying BTFD, buy the dip. I'll let you fill in the last word here. Looks like AMKR trying to break out of this sideways area from that big pullback that it had, Jay. You think this has more legs to it? I would imagine you do. Apple calls crossing the wire. multiple sweeps, different strikes, different sizes. Apple, new highs. Oh, the multi-time frame cloud trade. Well, we have a banger on our hands today, folks. SPY also trying to get through the VWAP right now, as well as 740. So those areas have aligned. 740 still a key level, very clearly. Selena, but the thought process here for me is that if I can control the universe of stocks that go into the bot, at least I have some frame of reference immediately when the bot starts taking trades. If it takes a trade on some junker stock that I don't know a lot about, I can't necessarily lean on what I know about that stock. Whereas if it takes a trade on Apple, I can feel pretty good about that, or some of the other stocks that we look at. Apple at the highs, by the way.
Well, that's the movers coming in. GMM kind of still hanging in there, going sideways. This is looking like it's coming back up for another attempt at the VWAP here. Volume expansion takes us through it, and maybe we get some better price action here. What prices?
Go ahead.
That was likely the surprise attack by Iran yesterday.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
All right, here we go. GMM. Boom.
Right through the VWAP. Do you know what? 13.
Not enough volume though. Not enough volume though. But it's Jesus.
I still see the volume expanding though. Look at this.
Now it is. Yeah. Now I see it. Yeah.
So you were early on that. That was a good call. Good stuff there. GMM. I'm not in this one, but congrats to anyone that took that.
And we next resistance is where it was early this morning at 402. So I'm looking at that $4 level and thinking, we can hold up above 375 and maybe 350, let's hold above these areas. That next visit up to 4 could be a breakout, but got to make sure we have that volume.
Trevor asking, do you filter out stocks below certain price levels? That's an interesting question. No, actually I have Archer on the list. So that's down in a $4 handle. And then I have, a whole bunch of like the bigger stocks like Microsoft, which is in a 300 handle and so on. So I give no consideration to price because some of the settings that I've programmed here are both share size and then also notional value in terms of max caps or what it's going to try and trade. So I pay no attention to price. I just pay attention to the total value there.
Unless it's under $1.
Unless it's under $1. Thank you, 13. Yeah, that's exactly right. By the way, Lion bought BE, Lilly, and KEG. CEG, that's Constellation Energy. How did Bloom Energy do, by the way? Okay, so this kept dipping a little bit. Ryan, let me know what the plan. I think you have a longer term view there. Lilly is my best stock to trade, Ryan. Very strong, very liquid. By the way, Lilly is a part of the bots universe. Let me just confirm that here real quick.
Bloom Energy, your entry might be better around 170. If you look at the price action yesterday, prior to this this move up here in the after hours, when it was in the regular session, it was getting resistance from that 170 area, and then we broke out of it. So I'm looking at that 170 area and thinking that might be the better level for entry if you're going to go long on Bloom Energy. Just what it looks like.
No, I do not have Lilly in the group. I'll add that tonight, I think. By the way, NCRA continues to break down. So we talked about it really melting that first fair value gap area. That provided almost nothing in terms of a trade. We are on our way to 230. We'll see what happens down there.
Yeah, 65 EMA is your next support. That's pretty much right where the 230 is. So it looks like that could be support level. And if we do get that, the price might be able to come back up towards the 340, 345 area, but if it can't get past that, then I think we may have a bearish pattern on our hands. GMM still pushing higher, but it's still running into that $4 area as resistance. So you just see that expansion of volume that takes us through it. Do we get it here? We're right at the doorstep of it.
Lions, if your bot says buy Lilly, then I'm a fan of your bot. Otherwise, I'm not. Okay, fair enough, Lion. SpaceX, that is lower, coming back to 110. We're still expecting a 100 break at some point there on SpaceX. Apple near the highs, 343, folks. 343, all-time highs for Apple.
And SpaceX coming down. It's hitting multiple support levels on the way down. we'll probably end up going through all of these, but because we expect this to go under 100. But we could see some indications of support. So it's definitely worth watching if you're looking to go long on this. Just waiting it out. I do want to own it. It's not right here.
NCRA might be starting to slow down here. I still think I'd rather see it print that 65 EMA 13, but the sell-off is slowing. Meanwhile, on the SPY, the opposite. SPY and NASDAQ both moving to the lows. Boy, I'll tell you what, the bot picked the right stocks because those are still moving higher.
AMEX coming down to get support from the VWAP and that trend line. If this holds, could see some more upside in AMIX. AMKR, this one's still coming in, providing more of a opportunity to go long, I suppose. And
it's right back into that sideways area. Really, I commented on this because Jay had brought it up, but really what I'm looking for is a breakout of this range. It basically traded to the top end of the range right there at about $48 and came back in 13. But I think we'd be okay looking at maybe 45 to 48. A breakout of either of those areas might set up for a move here. AMKR.
And DFNS kind of doing the same thing it did to everybody yesterday, where we had a nice pop out of the open and it gave it back. We'll see if there's another secondary move coming that takes it back up into the the high 30s. But just be careful with this one. It could do a repeat of yesterday and just kind of leak all day into the close. NCRA, I mean, it looks like it's trying to get some support here. I do agree that I think it would be better if we did tap that 65 EMA. But if it does start to turn around and get that volume, watch for VWAP break.
Gary mentioning that Adobe is hot early. So that's interesting. Now was the other stock that my bot took here. That's going to be another software name. Here's Adobe. That is at the highs of the day. Let's check now. That's now in a 112 handle. That's near the highs of the day at resistance here.
All the names that were getting really hammered down because of fears that AI was going to be taking their business, they look like they're doing pretty well today. So that's Adobe. Look into it.
Oh, INTU. Good call, 13. That's up 3%. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So I think those AI build-out fears is these types of stocks gain. At least that could be the trade for now. AMIX did not hold that trend line. It has lost VWAP, and it is coming back down to some of the pre-market support areas. That's going to be about 525. So we'll see if there's support at 525 in AMIX. GMM, higher. We went right through $4 to $4.29.
Yeah, we sure did.
And now we got to wait and see if we're going to hold above it. It looks like there's a seller walking this down, kind of hanging out right now at the 417, 420 area. But we are chopping at him right now as well, him or her. There it goes. We just went past that. Now we're back up at the 230s resistance. Looks like Vivacor is still trying to recapture its VWAP as well. GMM starting to weaken, putting in a red candle. This is coming back down towards the 375 area.
Really quick, Gary, 100% on those Adobe calls.
Nice.
That's worth a registering. Nice job, Gary. Nice job.
ECAS bringing up X-Ray, which is one that we like.
Indeed. X-Ray is actually in the real portfolio here. Cost basis at 11 too. Let's go on X-Ray. We got earnings August 6th. Let's go.
Just kind of thinking about all those different names that were getting hammered down because of AI that are doing better now. So CRM also up. I wonder if Palantir. Nope, that's not up. Maybe AppLovin. Nope. I'm just trying to figure out like which ones were getting hammered down relentlessly from that. And I can only think of a few: the Adobe, the Intuit, Salesforce. What else? What else was getting really hammered down by AI? I'm trying to think.
I think Intuit and Adobe were the two big ones. We saw Microsoft pull back, but that stopped. We saw Now pull back. That seems to have stopped. Snow, we saw pull back. That's also having a good day here today. VRT being mentioned by the chat.
Now that is different. This is down big time.
And that's down big. Yeah, maybe Trevor wasn't mentioning that in accordance with what we were doing.
Okay. They raised their guidance. But the midpoint is still beneath the estimate. That's so to the point that was being made about guidance.
TTD, that's a good one. Sorry, 13. Keep going.
Oh yeah, that's right. I saw there was another spot that I saw this, and I'm trying to think. Inverters, power inverters. That's one of the things that VRT does, and there was something I was writing about yesterday that had to do with power inverters, and I gave a list of names. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Here we go. This was in relation to Trump banning Chinese robots and power inverters, and I think that was more on the solar side. But I started giving out some tickers to names that may benefit from that. Doesn't look like they're benefiting from it today, but here they are. It's just a few of them. ETN, VRT, and EMR all make power inverters, and they all could benefit from this ban.
Jay Rice, he's doing it. He's got a big list for you, 13.
Oh, right.
Hubs, Workday, Team. We already talked about INTU, CRM, Microsoft, but Shop as well on there. Jay, I think this is plenty for us to start with. You got a number of them that were in there that we didn't mention. HubSpot is one of them, and I think Tess likes HubSpot too. Look at this. Is this bottomed?
Oh, wow.
HubSpot, this is down from 800 at one point, isn't it? Yeah, 800. Cut in half and cut in half again, 13.
Microsoft's on there. Love to see it.
Yep.
And Shop.
Good stuff, Jay. Appreciate you
Jay.
a lot.
Maybe needs not the word, but I would certainly love more. It's up to you, man. You gave us quite a bit there. DFNS turning around, trying to recapture VWAP here. It's now trading back above it. AMKR continuing lower. GMM giving back almost everything that it just had happened to it in the past 15 minutes. What else here? NCRA still trying to gain its footing here down at the 250 area, but not able to come back up yet. Vivacor still sideways. EIX passing 8. It passed 80 earlier this week too, and then it came back in.
LGHL, by the way, this got mentioned in the chat. This popped right to the VWAP and stopped there.
I mean, there could be a little bit more upside on EIX, but we are approaching this hefty supply zone from 80 to 88.50. I don't know if we're going to get past it, and maybe there's going to be some positive here with out of utilities, but I wouldn't hold this into earnings. It's run up into earnings. I think I'd be a little bit cautious on with Edison, and I really don't. I used to live out in Southern California. I know this company all too well, and they just continue to hammer rates at customers. I don't know. I mean, maybe it does go higher, but I have a concern about this consolidation area, and I wouldn't want to do anything with this until after the earnings.
SK Hynix looks like this is trying to curl. It's up 2.24%. Looks like it's going to try and go higher here.
ACN, that was a good mention. This has had a really nice rebound off the drop that it had back in June. Coming back up to some sideways consolidation, but it has been up for 4 straight days. Looks like it is on the mend. Looking for I think this is going to easily come back. It's going to go back up to 300, but we are getting up to a resistance level. I think 180 could cause some selling pressure, and it is getting to be overbought. We're not there yet, but we're getting close. So I would think that at some point soon, we're going to see some resistance and maybe a little bit of selling in ACN. But if we can hold like the 20-day and the 50-day SMAs, then that would be about the support we need for this to go back up further. That's what I would be anticipating here with ACN. It's getting a little extended. Maybe there's some selling, but after that, I think it goes higher.
Okay. Good stuff there with ACN.
Oh, is MSTR popping because Bitcoin's coming back up?
Bitcoin's actually at the highs of the day here, 64,600 on the futures there. Let's take a look at MSTR. By the way, now is straight up, folks. Straight up. Bot is crushing it today. Here's MSTR, by the way.
Retro. SoFi, I talked a little bit about it before we had, it's in the happy hour chat. We talked a little bit about it before we had the happy hour meeting. And it was saying that everything I was seeing implied that there was going to be a potential move in either direction. The options were indicating, caution, bullish, but cautious. And they were hedged to the downside. So it was looking like it could go, about 8% in either direction. And that meant it was either going to, depending on how earnings went, it was either going to fly up to 18 or drop down to 15. Where are we at right now? Let's look. Close to 15 because it came down. So what is going on here? I'm having a little bit of trouble with charts here in Pro.
What's wrong?
Well, it's caused the entire platform to lock up. I can't click on anything. I have to refresh it again.
Okay. I haven't had that yet. Let me know if you get that again, though. Oh, look at Bloom. This did come into 165 and started to bounce here. Lion, you might have just been just a handful of minutes early. Might still work here today.
Okay, there we go. It's weird. All right, so SoFi coming down to 15, and see down here, this is getting to be, and it could still go lower because this is not the most oversold it's been. It's been way more oversold than this. We've got 23 RSI prints earlier this year, but it is down at a support level. It is in pretty close to being overbought. But one thing that tends to happen a lot is when this RSI goes under 36, it tends to put upward pressure on the price. That's something that, a little side note that I put here on SoFi, just something to watch for. A lot of times when it goes underneath this 36 RSI, it's only down there underneath that level for a short period of time before it tries to recover. So we could be seeing recovery pretty soon here in SoFi, as long as we have 15 hold up. I think 15 is the level we want to see hold up here. And if we get that, boom, we have a triple bottom. PayPal also looking interesting. Let's look at PayPal.
Let's do it.
Oops.
PayPal actually trying to go above yesterday's intraday high. That would be an interesting move if it's able to pull that off.
Didn't we get earnings yesterday?
I believe we did.
We did. And one of the things that I think we were talking about, because I believe I was asked about this on Monday, if earnings are good, we're going to want to see that break into that 57 to 60 area. We got that. So we're in that sideways consolidation area right now. 60 is going to be the next resistance, but you now have 57 as support. It's going to take a little bit of a while, but you have the 50 climbing up towards the 200. So in the coming months, as long as the price continues to hold above the 200, you're going to eventually get a golden cross here. One thing that I would caution about is that this move does extend this, or does bring the RSI up pretty high. It's almost 80. So I would think that there's going to be some selling coming, but I would still look at 57 as a support level.
All right, Marcus, take care of yourself. Safe travels to Atlanta. Have a great event, whatever that is.
All right, let's look at some of these movers again here, see what
GMM came all the way back in. All the way back in.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean, basically to where it opened from. I guess maybe it's going to try and go through its VWAP again. Let's check in on Vivek as well. That held the 65 EMA, so far. We'll see if we get a VWAP reclaim there. DFNS, another one of those that came back in, held the 65, battling with the VWAP.
Yeah, DFNS looks like that's really struggling with some of these smaller moving averages and maybe even VWAP here. Need to see this. I think we need to see this recapture 38. That seems to be the big resistance area right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. Sal, Ryan, do you have stops for those paper trades if at a loss? Yes. So I have a maximum drawdown for the day across all strategies just to make sure the bot can't go haywire and evaporate me. But then I also, each strategy itself has its own rules for entry and exit, as well as a max pain stop. So they all vary a little bit depending on the strategy. The same is true for price targets.
It is really looking like a lot of these movers just have evacuated all volume. Maybe there's, a move coming in some of these, but their volume has been fading, and we need to see some expansion here. Looks like AMIX might be getting a little bit here, but we'll have to wait and see. It's coming up to the VWAP. See if it gets enough volume to push back through it. Looks like GMM is also trying to recapture that 350 area. Some of these are trying to curl up. We'll see if they have the volume to climb higher, but not looking like it so far.
Target, this actually might be trying to go higher. This right now butting up against its intraday high from yesterday. Let's call it 146.
You up almost 5%. Woohoo!
Marcus, it's a panel for asset allocators and a dinner. Ooh, free dinner. Let's go. Hit the like button. I almost forgot. How could you, Marcus? How could you? At least you remembered. Smash up the like for me, 13, and the entire group here that has just really been killing it.
Oh, yeah. Most of the group. You guys are awesome. MSS is going on a bit of a run here. This is Mason Solutions. It's up 20%. It just popped up to a former resistance level near $2. I don't think it's really a good time to pick it up now. But
what was the ticker again?
MSS.
MSS. Okay, I was like, it's Morgan Stanley's not what you're talking about.
Just kind of taking a look and see what else is making moves here. That one popped up.
Selena, I would be interested just because I think there's information that we could probably share with one another. I'd be interested in any of your findings if you're programming an automated trading bot. Honestly, I had to go through some trial and error here and figured out a number of bugs within the code that I was able to fix. Since then, though, the thing's been absolutely printing. And I'm on small test volume right now. I could increase this. I might do that for tomorrow. I might increase the size on the paper trade, get another day of data in there. MSS continuing here, 13, 215 now, 220. When's this thing going to halt?
I don't know.
Wow, what a move here on good volume for MSS.
Oh, gosh, that was timely. So looking to the left here, there was a similar move back on the 27th. I think that was Monday, right? Yeah. That took it up to the price up to 248 and then immediately reversed, gave it all back. So just be careful with this one. This we could see similar moves. As a matter of fact, that was probably where the reversal just started happening there. Look at this. Look at this volume, the selling volume now.
Yeah. And there was no news on this, right?
Nope, but the float's small enough to it's one of those ones that probably gets latched on and taken for a ride.
There was. Mason Solutions CEO shares a letter with shareholders. Company intends to complete divestment of San Gabriel and Monrovia store locations. This will enhance profitability, finalize stockholder derivative litigation, and adopt a strong corporate governance. Multiple potential stock buyback on top of that. So this did get good news that caused that to pop. That came at 938, by the way.
Vivek, trying to recapture the VWAP here. Keep an eye on that one. AMIX not done either. This is needing some more volume, but still trying to hit VWAP. Also worth keeping an eye on NCRA, and it's still going sideways, but hasn't given it up yet. And AMKR, maybe with this consolidation that we've been putting in for the past 15, 20 minutes, we might start to see a turnaround here. Oh, wow. Is your bot tied to the likes?
No, it is not.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're in the clear there, Lion.
Yo, I'm serious about this, because if this can kind of automate some of the strategy for me, this is really, really going to be helpful. Really, really going to be helpful.
AMIX, keep an eye on this. I think we're hitting VWAP again and that trend line that you mentioned to us. If we get this expansion of volume, I think we're through it. Nice trade there, Gary. Yeah, it's kind of like an SR71 right now, isn't it, Lion? It leaks like crazy, but when it's flying, man, everything's operating great, isn't it?
I mean, that still gets me. Leaked fuel while on the ground, and the engineers called it acceptable fuel leakage, which is not a term I normally pair with aircraft. Still the fastest moving aircraft to ever be produced.
Well, what's funny is the type of fuel that they were using, you couldn't just light by like throwing a cigarette or turning a flame near. It required a certain amount of heat. Or I'm trying to think of what the exact ignition was for it, but it wasn't. It was a specialized type of fuel that you really had to have high heat in order for it to combust.
Banks, which have been a leader, are rolling over today. Goldman Sachs straight down out of the open. By the way, AMIX being rejected here at this trend line.
GMM that just went lower, and I think we're about to see the lows of the regular session here. If it taps 3.
Apple trade from the bot has been booked.
Nice. How'd that go?
That was a winner. I'm 2 for 2 on closed trades. I have one more trade open. It's on now, and that is a winner as well.
Financials really getting hit.
And the now trade closed. The bot is 3 for 3. It has a 100% win rate today.
Excellent stuff.
That is excellent indeed. Excellent indeed. Also, the one other thing for the bot, just so you're aware, I've programmed it to take a maximum of 2 equity trades at a time. So it was locked up in those 2 trades, the Apple and the Now trade. Now that they're both closed, it'll be looking for some more.
Good. So now it's to learn not to over leverage.
It's so one of the problems that I ran into, this was an interesting one. When I had programmed multiple strategies in it, I did not give it a good enough prompt, and it basically used the exit for all of the different strategies on all of the different strategies. So for example, if a fair value gap trade was opened up, it would use the exit rules from the multi-time frame cloud exit, as opposed to each strategy owning its own set of rules. I fixed that now, and the results are stark in terms of difference.
Thanks for that, Jay. There are certain indicators I think I'm waiting for here with Trade Desk. It looks like it might be bottoming here, but I feel like I would need to get some confirmation. And there's a couple of things that I'd be looking for here. One would be a recapture of the 20-week SMA. Since we knifed through that back in August last year, we have not traded on the other side of it. It's continued to go lower. But what's interesting is that this has also formulated a falling wedge, which is a bullish pattern here. Because once broken, we move up, back test it, and then go higher. So I think I would keep an eye on this one, but it looks like it's trying to turn around here. And I think I would want some confirmation in the form of some of these the moving average recaptures. SPRC is going
AMIX, by the way, I just want to point out how great this trend line was. First of all, this very clearly a resistance area. I know we broke through it. That gave a trade. We came right back under it, then found resistance at it. Now it looks like we're rejected and moving away from it. So 13, yet again, our trend lines are proving to be extremely helpful for both entry and exit.
Yep. And looks like I was just looking at one thing here. SpaceX. This is trying to recover after coming down to 112.11. You do have some resistance that it's moving up towards, and that's going to be in the 115 area. So it looks like it could come back up a little bit higher, but 115 is going to be a spot with a question mark for me. Do we push past that, or do we get rejected?
Lion saying, try it on real money, Ryan, but just go very small. Yeah, it's on small size now. It looks at like, I think the max notional it takes is 25K, but it's generally looking for 100 shares, and then it will automatically size the shares based on the notional cap. And then for the 0 DTE on SPY and Qs, it only takes 5 contracts. Ultimately, I'd like to work that up to 20 contracts per trade on the 0 DTE, and I'd like to work it up to maybe 1 to 200 shares per trade on some of the bigger names like Apple, ServiceNow, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then again, the thought process here is that I want to test what I'm actually going to be doing in real life, as opposed to saying, hey, trade with as much as you want, go ham, get me all the data. I'd rather just kind of test what I'm actually going to be doing when it gets hooked up to real money.
Vivicor's volume is looking great, and it's back beneath the VWAP. So kind of watching that 65 EMA as the spot to lose. If it goes beneath the 65 EMA, next support levels are going to be 225 and then the 200 EMA.
Richard saying, Ryan, note paper does better on the fills than live trading too. Indeed, it does. The one thing that I've kind of already done to address that is I've put in a slippage control. So I'm not going to let the orders actually fill if the slippage is too great. And I'm actually doing that. I have that running for the paper trading as well. So I'm thinking about that. Believe me, I'm well aware I may not get the fills here. Roger asking, just joined you guys on YouTube. Is there a link from Pro to view this session? That is a really good question. We had, I don't know if it's still getting posted, but we had a Benzinga TV chat room in here where it was posting the links to a lot of the stuff that we were doing. Let me see if they're still updating that.
We just broke new lows so far. Where are we at?
No.
Are we under 15 now?
No, it doesn't look like that, Roger, but I'll try and get that going again. That's not a bad idea. Sorry, 13. What stock should I be looking at now?
Oh, we're just taking a look at SoFi. This went under 15. Let's see if we get any support, or if this is going to continue lower. See that it's getting, to be too, it's not there yet, but it's getting to be oversold, and I don't think that there's going to be too much more downside before it starts to get picked up again. But I'm not stepping in front of a falling knife here.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't either. Jay Rice wondering if Cake's going to 100. Does it have the magnet effect going here? Take a look and see where Cake's at. Cake at 98.50, so we are almost there.
Yeah. I mean, I think it could. I mean, we're super extended. It's continuing to squeeze. The squeeze could take it up to 100. I could see that happening, and then that might be the spot where sellers step in and go, let's get rid of this thing. I do think that there is a move down coming. Don't know if it's going to be today or tomorrow or later this week, but with this RSI elevated like it is, I tend to lean on the side that this is going to be sold at some point soon.
Teradyne, that came back in a little bit, still held the pre-market lows though. MSS, this is higher still. Boy, this is at day highs here. 326, 332. Whoa, this is still rolling. MSS.
It's over 100% mover now.
Yep.
Just because I was scrolling through my list. Next spot for MSS, $4. After that, $4.75, then $5.50. Those are the next upside levels I have for MSS. Don't know if we're going to hit all of them. Looks like
MSS halted here. 10:20:12 is your halt time. 10:25:12 is when we're looking for the open. SPY, this took 2 legs down here today. Looks like it's trying its best to hold 736 at the moment. We'll see if it's successful. Q's also trying to hold this area. This is actually a support 1 pivot down here.
BBTR fits the bill.
Good to see you again, Lakshmi.
Let's take a look here. They had earnings today too. So ABTR did have a little bit of a higher guidance raise. It beat on earnings. Look at this chart here. You have the 500-day SMA up at 1509. That looks like the next resistance area, and this is also very extended too. So, yeah, I mean, if that's what you're referring to about how this could, come back in because it's become extended, this may be one of them. You have resistance at the 500-day SMA. You've got a gap to the downside that could be filled, but fortunately, this does have a imminent golden cross that looks like you could get either later this week or sometime next week. But I still think this is probably going to come back in, maybe down towards somewhere in the 12 handle, just because it's overbought. So I would think that there's some cooling, but it looks like this could still end up going higher over time because of the that indication that's about to occur, that golden cross.
All right, 7 minutes left here before we get to the story trading, guys. Let's see how we finish up today's morning session.
It looks like SpaceX running into VWAP and not able to get through it just yet. NCRA getting some volume here, coming back up to VWAP. AMX getting support from its 65 EMA. Vivek is at risk of losing its 65 EMA, and if this drops underneath it here, I think it goes to the 200 EMA. And here we go.
Jay, I like this. BE, that's Bloom Energy. They reported earnings yesterday. Not good. That was a very good report. Bear markets ignore good reports and bull markets ignore bad reports. I think you have to look at the sector as well. So this entire earnings report on Bloom being sold, this thing green to red here today. SPY continues to roll over now. It lost 736, moving to the intraday lows.
GMM recovering after coming down to the 200 EMA. Didn't quite hit it, but came very close. NCRA trying to get back up to its VWAP. Needs better volume, but still trying. DFNS down at a bit of a support area. This one looks like it still may come in some more. Looks like we're just kind of leaking here now in a lot of these names. Livewire did provide some trades today, but that's mostly just a bunch of back and forth. Amazon levels, you know, that's.
Let's do it. I'm going to the big chart. Let's do Amazon levels right now.
Yeah, because everything else is just kind of not looking good at the moment. So here we have Amazon. This looks like we are coming down to a bit of a trend line support area. I don't know if you drew that trend line or not, but I started with the high from February 2025, and I drew it through the high of July 2025. And if you keep that going,
yeah,
we almost got support from that trend line back in June. Looks like we're still headed towards it this month.
Here this is making it hard to see. This channel is making it hard to see, but I do have that trend line right in here. We just broke it.
Oh, I think you connected a little bit.
February of 2025
Uh-huh.
through the highs of July 2025.
Yeah.
Again, I think this is making it difficult to see 13. Let me see if I can get this channel out of here.
Anyway, Amazon, they report earnings tomorrow. I think with how, that's been, selling down, or it's been selling into the print, we might see a reversal. But if we are going to get some support, 225 looks like one area. There's going to be a gap fill at 220 down to, what is this print? Down to 213.77. We can call it 214 because the high was actually almost 214. So I would say there's a gap fill, about a $6 gap fill coming if we lose 220. And then after that, actually during that gap fill, you're going to run into the 500-day SMA, and then you're at the bottom of the channel. So there's several different levels there for you. That trend line that we drew, the 220 area, which is the doorway to a downside gap fill, the 500-day SMA, and then the bottom of this channel that Ryan also, I think, had there previously. Those are the next levels that I would see to the downside. Now, if we get support from any of that, we're going to want to see a recapture of the 200-day SMA. SoFi is rebounding. Nice.
I agree, by the way, on Amazon. To me, one of the biggest things here is going to be a recapture of that 200 SMA.
And it does look like, because of it's been selling into the print, we could get some kind of a rebound. Like how much down is this on the year? We are down about 17, almost 18% off the highs from May. So nice corrective move.
NCRA, this is one of our movers here. We talked about this maybe coming into the 65 EMA. Never did it, but it did curl and move back to the VWAP. It actually peaked above it, but we'll see if it can close above it.
Yep. And looks like AMKR trying to get some footing here. GMM turning back up, trying to recapture the 65 EMA. Vivek hasn't stopped selling yet, but we'll see if that can turn around as well.
Bot took another trade here on Apple. This is a cloud curl trade. Long to Apple at 340.08. Nope, sorry. Entry 341.02. See if that ends up working out here. All right, 13. You got any closing words for the group? It is time for the story trading, fellas.
Well, tonight we start to get some earnings, and we also have the FOMC rate decision. Let's see what the market has for us tomorrow. I think it's going to be, I think it could be a little bit more exciting than what we've seen here in the past several days, where we haven't really traded much higher than the mid 30s or 40s in terms of volume, millions of shares. So hopefully these earnings will start to breathe some new life into the market. I could certainly benefit from that. I'd like to see more market movement. I'm sure y'all would too. Let's see what the market gives us tomorrow. Until then, folks, have a great time with story trading. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
All right, 13, really good stuff here today. We'll catch you on happy hour later and again tomorrow. 13's departure means that it is time for story trading. Let's bring on the boys. Here comes Ben with a cough to start us off. Here comes Rhett. Here comes Rhett. Travel. You like that?
Woo!
We had a poll here, so we didn't actually run the poll, but one of our viewers said, what will Ben's mood be today?
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty
There
good.
we go.
We've seen this coming a mile away, and we're all over this. I'm on red alert. I still have a short target on QQQ of about 635 to 640. Look at that. We're at 668. So I think a lot more pain to come. It could be very volatile. Obviously, we got FOMC today. I think we see a buy the news at 2 p.m. But then Microsoft Meta tonight, Apple tomorrow. I think Apple's going to see a sell the news no matter what they report tomorrow. And
they did run into the print, so that kind of tracks for me as well.
Right, and then that'll be the final catalyst needed for QQQ to make its way over to our next support levels, 635 to 643, something like that. So, I could be doing better because I'm not fully listening to myself. Every day I've been going top 2 picks, cash and short QQQ. Those are my top 2 picks, like 3-4 days in a row, and but I kept a whole bunch of longs. So I'm just like trying to tread water, but doing okay on feeling good because my predictions are right and making some money on the hedges.
Good deal. You know, that's one of the reasons why I am even going down. I'm programming a bot to do the trading for me here, especially so I can run the show without having to focus on that. And it is exactly one of the reasons why I'm doing this, because sometimes I don't listen to myself.
Yeah.
I don't listen to the damn plan.
Yep.
The bot doesn't know how to not do
The
that.
emotion.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right, guys, have a good one. I'll see you in about
Aaron,
next hour.
But Aaron, I did hear you say that your bot bought Apple shares just a moment ago.
It did. It's actually made a successful trade on Apple already, and it bought it again here almost at the dead bottom. It paid $341.02, which is where that reversed.
What API are you using for that? Are you using?
I'm using the Schwab API. That I try my accounts through Schwab. They give you a real-time trader API.
Shit,
Awesome.
does Fidelity do that? I got to figure that out. All right.
Ask them.
Cool.
All right, I'll keep you posted on it. Have a good show, boys.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Ryan. Well, today actually panned out to be a really great day for me. We were shorting Tesla live this morning. Got chopped around. Finally saw that flush. Covered almost 99% of it now at this point.
Yeah.
Leaving a few runners, so we'll see what happens there for Tesla. But those contracts I called out ended up running over 50%.
I mean, I just had 5 see, your dude zero. I can't do what you do. I got Friday's contracts at $3.50, and that flush took it to like 420. It's like whoop-de-doo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I think they ended up running over like 60% at one point. So
yeah, I had 5 contracts, sold 4 of them. I'm still short common shares on Tesla though. But yeah, I'm just looking
my
for
Q
shorts.
puts twice,
670.
but the last one that I bailed out right before the show began was the 670. Got him in at about 311, sold at 461.
Oh, cool.
nice, good job.
That was it. So I'm going all cash. I'm sitting on
Yeah,
cash.
same. I think I may call it a nice trade. Going into FOMC, I want to stick to all cash. I don't want to be on either side. Wait it out, see what happens, and then also I'm going to stick to cash until the earnings pass.
Yeah. So in any case, look, that's the right thing to do, definitely for short-term accounts. I think if you have like a longer-term account, sure, pick up. I was saying this morning, you want to pick up some of these things on good news. Generac, go for it. BE, especially here at 164, go for it. AVEX, go for it. But do it little by little. Save some cash for what I said here. This, okay?
For a bigger move.
Save some cash for that, right? Yeah, I think I that's the only thing I'm looking at, guys. I'm looking at QQQ. I'm also looking at USO. I had some nice trades in there overnight on USO, and then Oxy I've been in and out of all day. Every time I see a lag versus USO, they trade pretty close, but it tends to lag a little bit. So I've been doing that, and I am going to be carrying an IWM put position into FOMC. Look, we're finally breaking down, boys and girls. I've been waiting for this. Look at that. We're finally breaking down. IWM and the RSI is pointing downwards. I wonder if we can get to 287 on IWM by Friday, maybe today. 287.
Yeah, actually, IWM is leading QQQs right now in percentage down. So that has not been the case in the past. And that underscores your strategy and mine, and same, is that if FOMC has anything that's hints at interest rates going up,
right,
then IWM is going to collapse.
Yeah, and I said this morning in Discord, what's the only thing, because IWM's on the bull trend line, right? Well, right now it's below it. It's been the only index on the bull trend line. If you want to stay on the bull trend line, you have, in my opinion, you have to have an FOMC that's dovish or cutting rates today. They're not going to cut rates today. And maybe they'll be dovish. I don't know. But I like the risk reward of this. Let's say there's a 50-50 chance of dovish versus hawkish, but you're at the bull trend line. This thing can be vicious to the downside if there's any hawkishness at all. That's my thesis on that.
Yeah, definitely. We have a bunch of questions here. Someone's asking where the Godfather's at, asking about SoFi. I think SoFi could almost be a buy. It's getting near here. Look at this. Had a pretty good ER, but at the same time, it's also going to depend on how FOMC is. But it's at a key support. I mean, if you break below this, watch out below. So
Yeah, I
so
like
that's
SoFi
there.
long term, but I don't
Yeah.
like SoFi today, Wednesday before
Yeah,
2
no.
o'clock.
Yeah.
No, we got to
Yeah.
see.
And you know what? You got to start switching. In some of these cases, you got to start switching to the weekly chart from the daily chart. Because it's like, okay, where do we go from here? Because you're in no man's land over here. So you got like a point of reference now. If you pull to the weekly chart, could SoFi go to 1271? I think it could. If the Qs go to 640, SoFi might go to 1271. And look at Tesla, by the way, same thing. If you switch from the daily to the weekly, okay, well, you got 300 psychological support, right? But then after that, switch to the weekly to find some reference points here, and 280 is the number we've all been talking about. So it's 284 on the weekly.
Yeah, don't forget about Kathy Wood's buying too.
Oh yeah, that's a huge catalyst.
Still, I don't know, Ben. She had one good run. People like to say that, but she's underperformed the markets the past 10 years. So if you
She's
do
what?
it, she's underperformed. ARK has underperformed the markets.
No, I know. She just had Tesla.
Yeah,
she was a visionary on Tesla. I mean, she's like a retail trader. She's like not looking at the financials and just like buying into the big story long term. And I guess, sorry, I'm ducking out of the view of the video for a second, but yeah, work with Tesla, not much else.
Yeah, I agree with Zach. She really gets a great entry. One that was interesting this morning had relative strength too. Zeta, I really love this name long term. I think it's one you just sit and hold.
Look,
I want to start trading this around the core.
Curling back down here. Hold on. I need to get. Man, I really got washed out on IWM puts yesterday. I thought yesterday would be the day it would break down. And so I ended up selling half of my position. And now today is the day it's breaking down. So now I have a little bit of FOMO. I'm like, man, I wish I had the size I had yesterday. Because right now I have it's not bad. 2% of my accounts in IWM puts. That's not bad. Maybe I shouldn't be too.
Yeah, I'm waiting for entry on Soxel. If you look at that on a weekly, SOXL, that is ugly. I'm looking at
suggest
entry around 85.
I'm going to suggest before I pull up Soxel. Soxel is 3 times SOXX.
Yes.
I think you should look at it. Personally, I think you should do that based on the SOXX chart, not the Soxel chart, because of the
almost $2 million in Intel puts just at the
levered. What? Oh, really? 2 million Intel? Yeah, levered ETFs. I don't think give you a true indication of support and resistance levels on a chart. So let's see if this matches what you're seeing on Soxel. So on SOX, the next support is 463.65. But could this thing? I'm looking at the daily right now. 463.65. Can this go all the way to 200 DMA? Man, that would be oh my gosh, maybe it could. Holy crap. Dude, this can get crazy. People are going to be wiped out.
So if you look at it on a weekly, right? And let's match up because I'm looking at Soxel on a weekly at about 85. And we're at 97 right now and crashing.
So on a weekly, I don't know, dude. I gotta go trade. It's going down. That's all I'll tell you. All right. So I gotta pull up something. I don't have enough. I feel like I don't have enough edge. All right. Let's see. TLT down, rates up. IWM down. Low of day. QQQ curling back to low of day. Still in the Tesla short, but just common shares at this point. I don't want to talk about Echo now. Got that wrong so far.
Question about SNES. We're still bullish on that.
I'm holding it along. Oh, wow, look at the Qs dive through support. Holy shit. Wow. Oh man. I sold a lot of my contract. I got let's see, I'm a 1.6% position on Q puts. I guess at this point, 287 is the target on IWM. QQQ broke the low of day from the other day. So 665 is your first level of support. I'm going to try to trade around the corner. So if we get to 665 and change, I'm going to close these puts, see if I can get in on a bounce. I own Sinestec long term. We've interviewed the CEO twice in the past couple of months, and he basically suggested they're going to have record earnings, record revenue at least by wide margin in this coming earnings report. So I'm going to hold it for that report. Let's look at the charts. SNES
Been beaten up.
130. Yeah, really destroyed. But I think we're going to see a massive revenue number based on his hints he gave us.
Wow, look at all these charts.
The other one I'm looking at is DRAM. I made a few dollars on it in the last 24 hours. I'm out of it. Looking for new re-entry here.
You know what one's killing me is photo. I think my average is.
Oh, you know what? Like all that stuff's
Yeah.
killing me. Like my long-term account is getting destroyed. I used to, and maybe I still, whatever. I made a mistake. I don't know, but I used to tightly manage my long-term account when it wasn't big because I was trying to make big money. So like in times like this, in my retirement account, I would go to like 50% cash and 20% SQQQ, and I managed it really well and it was great. But that was when my retirement account was small. Now my retirement account, thank God, is in multiple seven figures. So I'm like, I don't know. I just want to be fully invested and, so that money's there for me when I'm 59 and a half. So like, I didn't take evasive action. I'm like, I have like maybe a 3% cash position right now. So it's kind of sad. Big hits in the last few weeks, guys.
That's funny. Look at this comment. Someone's saying Kathy Woods and Jim Cramer make a great couple.
That's true. Great indicators, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, Ben, look at Soxel on a weekly.
Okay. Well, following
it's down even more now.
Sorry, I was resisting it because I don't like to do technical analysis on levered ETFs, but
okay. I'm looking for 85.
Yeah, 87.
Wow, you guys see Cheesecake Factory?
200. It's bouncing off at 200 now. Wow. No, I didn't. I heard it went up.
Check out Cake. Ticker symbols Cake.
It's been downgraded, right? It just got downgraded.
It's flying up today. It's up 10%. Almost hit 100, 99.45.
Yeah.
Look at the news.
I'm not really interested in that, right?
I had an impressive Q2 report.
Look at TLT crashing. Man, that's... But what are the chances, though, Laptop, are you concerned that we could see the market pump on bad FOMC news just because it's selling off into it?
I think it's for me, it's political because we have a president and administration that I'm sure is putting pressure on the Fed. I'm sure the market has been unbelievably resilient.
Wow, look at this.
And resisted these drops. So yeah, I could definitely see that into the news. Maybe it's a sigh of relief, but it depends on what's said. What's the indication? What's the dot plot? That's the dot plot's the number one thing I want to see.
So I don't know. I actually think that price action kind of over is more important than that. I just think like this price action is driven by deleveraging and technicals, and then you're going to have
calls here
and margin calls, right? And then
with
you're
all
gonna
these
have
valuations,
right? So I just think you're going to have like a narrative that they'll just create a narrative and interpret everything the way they want in order for this to come to its crescendo. I just look at this QQQ. So I almost think like it doesn't even really matter unless there's a surprise rate cut or rate hike, right? But in terms of let's assume that there's nothing and it's just commentary, right? So I gave a very specific prediction on in the Discord, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it again. I think at 2 p.m. we could see a sharp if there's no change in rates, right? If there's a change in rates, it's a surprise. Forget it, right? If they hike, then you're still going down, even from oversold levels, like instantly. But if there's no change in rates, I think we could see a sharp move up in QQQ, maybe IWM, but maybe more so QQQ because it's more oversold right now. And then it's going to fully reverse into the close and into Microsoft Meta. I think like I think there's going to be something negative in Meta regarding maybe the same thing with Google. Maybe their cash flows decreasing with high AI capex spend, maybe like that, right? And then you get Apple tomorrow, and I think Apple can be sell and used because it's been, so basically what I'm saying is I think you can have a big pop that can shake a lot of people out at 2 p.m. and then you resume the downtrend towards the targets we have 635 to 640, which could come at this point Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, I
That's
don't think
that's
you're
my
gonna
prediction.
I don't if we see that pop around 2, we're not gonna then reverse overnight. In fact, the foreign markets are gonna be relieved and be positive, which will give us a little boost in the morning. But reality will set in, and Thursday and Friday
Do you think
will
we can get a
weigh on
full?
investors.
You think if we do get a pop, it could be a full 1 day relief rally rather than just like a 1.5 hour, 1 hour rally?
Can I say 14 hours?
Okay, I'll take that. Sounds good. I love how precise we're getting with our crystal ball here this morning.
Wow, look at TLT right now, guys. About to make another new low a day here.
Yeah,
Not looking good.
yeah. I got to make like a ton of money on the short side to make up for these echo call options. I bought so many echo call options yesterday, like so many. I just got one more shot. I got the ER tomorrow. Tomorrow after the close. Maybe I can sell them Friday morning for a profit, and then we'll see. In the meantime, I'm just trying to make as much money as I can to the short side on whatever I
Yeah,
can here.
Zach, I wish I had my 8-ball with me. I would shake it and show you what it says. It said 8-ball time, but yeah, the magic 8-ball used to be.
Oh shit! Well, I bought Watt this morning like a dumbass, and I totally forgot about it. Oh shit! I gotta sell that mother. Ah. And when I bought it, I'm like, I shouldn't do this, but I'm buying some Watt because they had some good news and it's been sold off. Oh my gosh, why did I do that? I got it. And the spread is terrible. Jeez Louise, what a mistake I made there. Why do I do that?
Someone's asking, someone said, I've heard that it takes almost a full week for institutional investors to re-enter after a dip. Is there any truth to that? Someone's asking.
A full week to what?
Absolutely not.
To re-enter after a dip. I don't think that's true.
What does that mean?
I mean, here, you read the comment.
Oh, let me open the comments. I don't even see. Oh,
second to last.
Things are computer driven with predetermined buy and sell limits and reactionary, and it's like dominoes.
I never heard anything like that. I never heard anything like that.
Yeah, J. Rice, I agree with you. I think pretty soon the market is going to really start to weigh on the ASTS earnings and the rest of those. So we'll see what happens. But we do have upcoming catalysts for ASTS with the launches. So I think that can be a little bit of a sentiment boost there. All goes well.
I mean, I would say right for the moment, Jay Rice, that valuations don't matter right now either. I've been saying this for a few days. Throw fundamentals out the window. It doesn't matter. This is about deleveraging, and I've seen this several times in my career. Laptop has also seen it more than me. When you deleverage like this, it's just all about the margin calls and the technicals and the fear, and nothing else matters. And even like fundamental investors that know something, the valuation is good, they know what's happening with the deleveraging, and they'll hold off until they see capitulation, right? Yeah, you agree with that, Laptop?
Yeah, you know what? I do agree with that. I think right now we're in a position. If I'm the administration and I'm the Republican Party, I'm looking at the midterms, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is you got to draw a line in the sand. The country would and the market would be behind and support an all-out war on Iran right now, and it would be positive for the market and positive for investment.
You know what? Since we're talking politics, I think the big mistake, and I don't know, maybe there's a political reason why this isn't done, but I think one of the big mistakes Trump made here, first of all, he never went and gave like an address to the nation, like this is why we're taking this action against Iran. He does it like in bits and pieces, and sometimes it's a formal press conference, whatever, but it's never given like a serious, like this is a serious matter, address the nation, right? But remember when this got hot, when he got involved, it was after the massacre of like 40,000 people in the streets. That's when he got involved, right?
But he was intoxicated on how easy Venezuela was.
I know that.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking about if you want the American people behind this, I could see the American people getting behind this crazy terrorist country killing 40,000 of their own people, right?
Absolutely.
Like, because if I'm sorry, if I'm the parent, God forbid, of a soldier who died in Iran, this Iran war, do I want him to die because we want cheaper oil prices? I mean,
No.
come on. Like, if he went and he died because they're trying to, liberate 50 million, 60 million people, 70 million people from this, probably the worst one-day massacre since the Holocaust, probably, right? As far as we know, that's been public, like, if that's what that soldier died for, I think the American people can get behind that a little more. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that the president, the administration, and should have come out. And you're exactly right. We're doing the right thing because we're America. These are the values we believe in. We
100%.
are the democratic leader, and we can get the press behind this.
100%.
But our government has taken this approach that we don't let the press in anymore onto what's really going on. They don't want the press to tell the story anymore. They want paid politicians
And
and spokespersons to tell
and
the
look,
story.
we're not going to go around saving every country that has like a dictatorship, terrible things going on.
Obviously not.
But so there are strategic reasons why we'll save this country. I get because of oil, because of China, because of Russia, right? That Trump has all these strategic reasons why he's interested. But you don't have to say that part so much. Freaking focus on like liberating these people who are being oppressed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the
So
people
stupid.
behind you. But if we would just go in, he would say, that's it. There's no more talks until you absolutely come to the table and beg for a ceasefire. And that's it. We're done. The other problem is maybe Iran is so fractured that they can't control all these little fractional little armies around that have missiles and no leadership. They just randomly do stuff. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I've heard that, but like, I don't know. We would have maybe seen a statement like, hey, that's not something we authorized, or I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. I kind of feel like we're on hold right now until 2:00. Obviously, I'm in cash. Rhett's in cash.
I don't
A
know.
lot
I'm
of
still in
people are
these
telling
puts.
us that-
You're not in any puts right now?
No,
I'm
I cashed
100%
out right
cash.
before the meeting.
What's that?
Yeah, he's 100% cash too.
Oh, you guys are not in put. I'm still in some Q and IWM puts.
Nope.
I sold them before the Benzinga show. I didn't want to be trading during the show.
Wow.
Yeah, look, curling back up, bright move.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think going back to where was it? Jay Rice. He said, Ben, totally disagree. Valuations matter. You're getting some nice moves.
No, they matter long term. They don't matter in the next 5 days. That's yeah, of course they matter.
I think everyone loved MBIS at 250. No one mentioning it at 150. Look, I love MBIS. I love it.
Oh,
at this
MBI is
level,
going to
but
140. Is it at 150? The target was 140. Oh my god, it's hitting. There is no way MBIS doesn't hit this level at this point. There's no way.
I think I'll load up on MBIS at 140. Add some more. So
yeah, man.
But I'm also more on
FOMC
that.
is
Killed.
sorry. FOMC is 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for the person that asked.
Oh man, I have so much MBIS, and I also have a lot of MBIS short puts in my short put account. They're just getting absolutely demolished right now.
You know, and once we get past this, then the next thing is September, and almost everyone, more than half the people think, and the predictive markets will say that they are expecting, if nothing else changes, we're going to see a rate increase in September, and that's going to be the next dialogue, and that's going to take us down, and that leads into the midterms. So another dilemma.
Oh look, QQQ hit my first target, 665 plus 76 cents. That was my first
Wow.
target here that I gave as of a few days
Should have
ago.
held on to my puts.
No,
What's
based
the
off
mission
that,
too? VIX almost at 20 again. 3 cents away.
What's that 670 selling for? 670 selling for
Oh.
huh? Okay, I did good enough.
Let's see.
Strongly agree on that. No, I don't know. I don't want to get too political, but Yeah, I probably shouldn't comment on that political comment.
Yeah. NBIS 140, completely agree. Trader Joe, 1000% right. He said there's nothing wrong with sitting on your hands in this market.
Today was just crazy. When I saw the QQQ open with all that chop, that was just too much.
Yeah. I mean, we chopped around for the first like 17 minutes, I think, before we got any sense of direction.
Wow, does that mean Air is also going to get to that gap fill? Let me see. Let's see what Air is doing today. 66. Oh, yeah. Wow. This might be, wow, on a Monday morning pre-market, this thing might be $50. Air.
No, he's still in Echo. I personally am not on that trade. Someone's asking if you build on Echo.
No, unfortunately not. I mean, I'm giving it just one more day, and that's it. They have their earnings tomorrow, and
If not, Ben, I'm gonna fly to New York and I'm gonna freaking hit the sell button for you on all of it.
oh, you know what? No, I'll tell you the.
Nope, I'm flying to New York and I'm selling it all.
Listen, actually, I'll tell you something. Maybe I'll be out of the calls after tomorrow. But this trade has been really, really accurate and good. Long Echo, short SpaceX, and I think after the AT&T deal, it'll continue to work. I wouldn't be surprised if it gives you another 20% profit in the next few weeks. Long Echo, short SpaceX. So who knows?
And, yeah, because SpaceX, don't forget, August 6th or August 7th, 20% of the shares are unlocked. So I expect another dip, big dip on SpaceX.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm short a bunch of SpaceX right now, but that's just because I have the Echo.
All right, looks like we have 2 minutes left. 18.
Yeah, I wouldn't get into SpaceX until December, the end of the year, beginning maybe January.
Long-term pickup for me, I'm going to look in the 60s to 70s. I think that's fair value for the company.
Maybe that'll be a January effect stock, huh?
Yeah, probably a good one.
For a lot of people, it might be.
I hope it doesn't get that low. You know, I have a lot of those pre-IPO SpaceX shares that I don't have yet. Hasn't been delivered.
SpaceX to 65. SpaceX to 65.
60 to 70. Yeah, that's my fair valuation. I think we get there too.
Yeah, I'm thinking 80, 85, but I think I might start adding at 90 just in case. And then DCA, I think long term it's good, but I think it's got a ways to come in. You're right about August 6th for the 20% share lockup. It's not going to be 30% because they didn't meet the performance metric. 2 days prior to that, you have them reporting earnings. So LOL, that'll be fun.
Oh yeah. Hopefully, guys, it's a better sentiment though on the earnings.
Whoa! Look at oil. Freaking yesterday in my Discord, I said USO can have a 10 to 15% move today. What did I do? Did I play it? Nope. Up 8%. What's wrong with me? 10 to 15%.
You'll have the next
9.
WTI maybe.
Any closing words, you guys, before we go?
Buckle up.
That's a good one. Anyone else?
Sit on your hands.
See you at 2:05 p.m.
There we go. All right. Story trading, guys. Ben, Rhett, Laptop Travel, thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Good job,
guys. See ya.
All right, folks, we are out of time here for today. The Drift is next, and we're sending you there right now. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused, and of course, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.